Montana rolling out the right, looking toward the end zone, throwing under pressure, throws his pass, caught by Clark. Clark got a touchdown.
High drama. The 49ers capped their climb to the top of the NFC 10 years ago. Under Bill Walsh, they went on to win Super Bowl 16. And through the 80s, 2 more NFL titles. With a rugged defense and a sophisticated offense, they were unquestionably the team of the decade. Not even Walsh's retirement slowed the 49ers. In his rookie year, George Seifert guided San Francisco to its 4th Super Bowl win of the 80s. But today, the 49ers dynasty stands on a threatened edge, needing a win to keep flickering playoff hopes alive. Many of the familiar faces are gone. San Francisco's leader now, unheralded backup quarterback Steve Bono. He's directed the 49ers to 4 wins in a row in their desperate playoff drive. The 49ers theme, 1 game, 1 win, 1 season. In San Francisco, the season is this game today.
NBC Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers.
A sweater and coat day, foggy and 50 degrees at the Stick on Hunter Point. The crowd, 66,000 plus, a sellout to see if the 49ers can stay alive for the playoffs as they meet the Chiefs. Here's the story for San Francisco. They can't lose any of their final 2 games or they're eliminated. They can win the division yet in the West with 2 wins if Atlanta and New Orleans both lose twice. Their best scenario, they can clinch a wild card with 2 wins, but Philadelphia is the key team. Philly must beat Dallas tomorrow, then lose to the Redskins the following week, and then San Francisco gets the wild card. Kansas City, they've already celebrated. They're in the playoffs, but they can do better. They can win their division with 2 wins in their final 2 games if Denver loses twice, and they can host a playoff game regardless of what they do today if they beat the Raiders next week. So that gives you some of the possibilities. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg with Bill Welsh. Welcome aboard. First, some news. The top 2 rushers for these teams will not play today. Christian Okoye, he's out, not in uniform. And we've just learned that Keith Henderson, a bad ankle, will not play today for San Francisco. From there, let's go to the quarterbacks. Here late in the year, talking playoffs, one team using a 3rd stringer, Bono, the other making a change. Marty Schottenheimer, a bold move, going to Mark Vlasic this week.
Well, Mark Vlasic has been impressive all year in practice sessions, so they like the guy. Meanwhile, Steve DeBerg just hasn't played up to last year. He's not even close to last year. No deep passes down the field. I believe Marty Schottenheimer feels Vlasic is his chance to be successful in the playoffs because he can make the plays downfield. So it's a calculated move and a good move.
What kind of game do you think we'll see today?
Well, Kansas City will run the ball. They'll use Barry Ward right up the middle, off the short side, off the strong side, control the ball and not score that often, and then depend on Vlasic deep down the field.
And San Francisco?
Well, you can expect them to be throwing the ball all over the place. Again, they must really make their running game work today, but their defense is going to have to get the ball back for them, Dick.
I'm going to make Bill Walsh smile. It's automatic. Everyone talks Bono, but the words that really bring you the smile. How about Rice and Taylor?
These are 2 magnificent football players. Taylor at his very best right now. He's probably the best run after the catch in the National Football League. Meanwhile, Rice, once again, we know, is one of the greatest receivers of all time. So those 2 people make any quarterback look very, very good.
Rice with 89 career touchdowns, and you have to be reminded this is only his 7th NFL season. One of the brilliant players assuring himself a spot in Canton about as quickly as a man can. Kansas City won the toss, and Marty Schottenheimer's team will get the ball first as San Francisco's Mike Cofer tees it up and will kick from north to south. Perfect day for players in terms of their comfort, but a chilling wind at times as there has been fog and overcast here in the Bay Area the last several days. That's Troy Stratford, the former Dolphin, acquired by Kansas City this year. Deep to return. Niners are 8-6. Kansas City 9-5. And we're underway. A game with so much importance for San Francisco. And Stratford takes the touchback. Mark Vlasic, his 4th career NFL start, has this offensive line. Their 24th consecutive start as a unit. Alt-Zott, Grunard, Lutz, and Boldinger. In the backfield with Vlasic, Barry Word replaces Okoye. He gained over 1,000 last year. Jones is the blocker. Thomas and the rookie Barnett outside with Jonathan Hayes, the tight end. When they go to 4 wide receivers, Word and Jones go out, and Emil Harry and J.J. Burton replace. Vlasic, like Bono, wearing number 13, dumps it off into the flat, and that is Williams, the rookie from LSU. Harvey Williams with a good gain in the flat. Bill Romanowski ran him down, and in the red jerseys of San Francisco, Holt, Carter. Larry Roberts replaces Kevin Fagan. Fagan out for the year, knee surgery. Tim Harris is in for Charles Haley, but Haley could play today. DeLong, Walder, and Romanowski complete the linebacking core. Merton Hanks, rookie, Iowa, playing despite a broken thumb, heavy cast. Griffin, Waymer, and Bowles, and then Kevin Lewis comes in the nickel. Second down and a yard. Williams caught in the backfield and brought down for a loss. Pierce Holt, the veteran from Angelo State, number 78, in on the stop.
Holt just penetrated from the outside, and basically they wanted to bounce this play, but there was really nowhere to go. Meanwhile, the 49ers had stacked their defense to that side. It might have just been a break on the part of the 49ers, but strategically it really shut off Kansas City.
Pierce Holt in his 4th year, of course, didn't play in the NFL until he was 26 years old, as he didn't go to college until after a couple of years of work out of high school. 3rd and 2, and Vlasic out of the shotgun. Good protection. Incomplete. He had 2 men in the area. Barnett, the rookie, appeared to be the intended target. That's Kevin Lewis in on the coverage. And on comes the punting team for Kansas City.
Charles Haley in the lineup as a right defensive end, pass rushing, looked as quick and strong as ever, so I don't see a problem there. Meanwhile, they put Tim Harris on the other side, so 2 excellent outside pass rushers, and Vlasic was in some problem. He felt that heat and didn't throw a good ball at all.
Brian Barker, averaging 40.6. Sends a soft short kick, fair catch by John Taylor, and San Francisco starts with excellent field position. A 32-yard punt, and Taylor and the Niners are at their own 40-yard line. Steve Bono. In Italian, Bono means good. Will he be great? Steve Wallace, Guy McIntyre, Jesse Sapolo, and Roy Foster, along with Harris Barton on the line. Tom Rathman, Dexter Carter in the backfield, Taylor and Rice, that brilliant tandem outside Brent Jones. The tight end, Dexter Carter, goes out, and Sherrod replaces him in their 3-wide pass formation. Bono comes out throwing. Fumble by Jones, and he recovers. Brent Jones at the 49-yard line. Hit hard by Tracy Simeon, but the ball fell at the lap of the tight end. It's a 9-yard gain.
Good catch, but a heck of a shot after the catch, and in that particular case, Jones was off balance and really couldn't protect himself. That time the 49ers did a great job on that defense, because Kansas City tried to slide their secondary, and just, I guess by chance, Bono sprinted out and hit Jones going the other way.
That was 24. J.C. Pearson with a lick that forced the ball free. Here's Dexter Carter, a first down to the Kansas City 45-yard line. Tackle made by Dino Hackett, and here's the rest of the Chiefs company. Smith, Saliamua, and Moss, the front 3. 4 linebackers. Martin. Schottenheimer really praises his talent against the run. Simeon playing in his 31st game this year. Hackett and Derek Thomas, 13.5 sacks. Pearson and Ross are the corners. Kevin Porter and Daron Cherry, he says he's having his best year ever, this Pro Bowler Cherry. Burris and Everett join those 4 in the nickel package.
A lot of moving around, and they tried to catch the Kansas City defense, not able to adjust, but they did a fine job of it.
Bono through the hands of Jerry Rice. It was a little too tall. Kevin Ross on the coverage.
That particular time, they shifted 4 people in the San Francisco offense, all eligible people, hoping there'd be a mismatch. So now they've got Rice running a slant pattern up inside, and Bono simply throws it up over his head. Just a little too high, and typically Jerry makes a catch on a high ball.
So it's 2nd and 10 at the 45, just inside the 45, as Taylor goes right. Jerry Rice to the left.
You notice, Dick, Rathman's playing halfback now, and Little Carter's the fullback. So that adds Rathman as a blocker.
Jamie Williams, tight end in motion. Give us to Carter. The little guy from Florida State turns the corner and gets to the 38-yard line. A pickup of around 6. Ross again the tackler.
Dick, it was Rathman at halfback, which has been something we did with him over the years. And then he attacks the linebacker. And that time he just knocked Derek Thomas off the line of scrimmage, and Derek couldn't get away from Rathman, and that allowed Carter to get the gain.
Williams and Carter come out. Jones is back in as they go to the 3 wide receivers on 3rd down and a long 3, nearly 4.
In this case, we look for a crossing receiver, possibly somebody in motion and working across the field to get away from the defender trailing them.
Flags go down as Rathman takes the toss. He stops short of the 1st down, but the Chiefs may have been offside. Derek Thomas trying to get a jump on left tackle Steve Wallace.
Well, that hurt because they really stopped that toss, stopped it cold. And I think that was a changeup by the 49ers. Typically, they'll throw on 3rd and 3.
Still no signal.
It came, there were 2 people that moved, so that cadence by Steve Bono must have had an effect on that defense.
Offsides, defense, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
So I think we'll see. Look at Bono's head will move slightly, and there are 2 people moving. So it basically we can know for sure it was a snap count and the cadence that pulled that defense.
And 58 Derek Thomas had his head across that neutral zone. 1st down San Francisco at the 33, opening possession. Taylor motion, fake to Carter, throw to Taylor. And he's down to the 25-yard line. John Taylor, his ability after the catch is quite remarkable.
And he's a tall, lean guy. He's over 6'1", and in this particular case, they're going to fake the ball to their left. Bono hides it, then Taylor slips right out into the flat. And the Kansas City defense just didn't adapt and find Taylor quickly enough. But that time they loaded up on their left, appearing they'd run that way. Then, of course, faked and came out to the right.
Taylor from Delaware State, his brother Keith Taylor, a defensive back with the Indianapolis Colts. 2nd and 2. First receiver covered. He goes long for Rice. And there's going to be a flag on that one. Kevin Porter bumping Rice. I'm not sure it was a catchable ball.
It was not a catchable ball. I'm sure they'll review that or take a look. The ball was clearly over both people's head. Clearly over their heads.
Interference, defense, number 27, foul took place in the end zone. The ball will be placed on the 1-yard line.
The ball is
1st down.
The ball is way out over everybody's head. I can't believe they wouldn't see that. Now you see Bono wants to throw left. He can't find that. Then he's back over the top to Rice. So Rice wasn't the primary, but look at the ball. It's way over everybody's head. Now that ball landed at least 4 yards past the end line, and they still call pass interference.
24-yard penalty, 1st and goal, San Francisco. Fake to Sidney, wide open. Jerry Rice, number 90. 90 touchdowns for Rice in his brilliant career.
Just a beautiful job of faking inside. You see the tailback going right up in and then blocking, and then Rice running a shallow cross pattern. Now that would be called pass 14. Solid flanker, shallow cross, and it was just wide open. On 1st and goal is the call to make because they're bound to be playing for the run in that situation. Some teams will wait till 3rd down to try that, and the defense by that time's alert to a possible pass.
Mike Kofer to try the extra point. Joe Prokop, the punter, to hold and spot, and he just slides that one through. So San Francisco takes the opening kickoff, marches 60 yards in 6 plays. Jerry Rice, the third man in NFL history to catch 90 touchdown passes. First 5 minutes, the Niners strike for 7, and Jerry Rice in an elite class. Largent in 14 years with the Hawks had 100 touchdown catches. The great Don Hudson, 11 years, 99, and Rice in less than 7 seasons has 90. Part of that is his ability to play even though hurt. He's never missed a game. Kofor kicks it. Stratford 1 yard deep will take it out. The former Boston College star is knifed down at the 15 by Mitch Donahue.
Well, so far, Dick, Kansas City is getting beat to the punch all over the field. So they're going to have to get a drive, something going, at least a first down in this particular situation.
So much playoff importance tomorrow. Join us at 12:30 Eastern Time for our coverage of the National Football League as it continues on this weekend. We'll give you the lineups. Games right after this play. There they are. Houston, Cleveland, New England, Jets, Seattle, Atlanta, Cincy, Pittsburgh, Miami, San Diego, the late game. Vlasic to Barry Word, and Word plows for 5. Steve DeBerg on the sidelines now as the role of sending in by Semaphore the offensive calls, and on Wednesday he really won the respect of his teammates, Bill.
Well, he before the meeting started, the basic team meeting, he got up, asked the coach, asked Marty if he could make a remark, and he talked for 4 or 5 minutes about the fact that he hadn't performed as he had hoped. He wasn't getting it done, and that Vlasic had been chosen, and he thought that everybody should stick together and have no division and get behind Vlasic. What a class guy.
Here's Word getting only a couple. Nothing there as that hole closed in a hurry. Dave Waymer came up from the secondary to help out Michael Carter. Of course, DeBerg, obviously, if Vlasic doesn't play well, would be reinserted by Marty Schottenheimer. The word was, and as we looked at film, that DeBerg not only was being intercepted, but his long passes were all too long. He was always overthrowing the deep ball.
Well, the basis of that is he wasn't concentrating downfield, and I think he was feeling the pass rush a little more than he had done a year before.
Vlasic. Oh, an entanglement, and that'll be a penalty on Kevin Lewis. He really had Barnett, Tim Barnett, the rookie, all wrapped up and ready to hog tie him down at the 35-yard line, and this will go against San Francisco.
Kansas City really needed that play.
Interference.
They really
Defense.
needed it.
Number 45. First down.
Because prior to throwing the ball, Vlasic was really being chased out of there. Now, you'll see interference here, and that's very fortunate for Kansas City. No question about it. But the pass protection just wasn't there. And, you know, Dick, in observing the tapes, the pass protection really hasn't been there that good all year for Kansas City. And I think DeBerg's problem, in a sense, was partially due to pass protection.
Only Word behind him, a play action by Vlasic, and he wants to go long. Incomplete, intended for J.J. Burton, the fastest of the Kansas City wide receivers. Merton Hanks not fooled, the rookie on the corner.
They just didn't get the right pass coverage. Hanks was right on Burton, no question about it. He had it covered. It was an excellent fake, excellent fake.
Marty Schottenheimer thought that Hanks had hooked his receiver.
You just see good coverage down the field. Now, there's that cast. He's using it actually as a weapon, and that could have been called because there was just too much. He was affecting Burton's path down the field.
2nd and 10. The Niners lead 7-0. They give us to Williams, and this rookie from Louisiana State University, who broke Eric Dickerson's high school records for rushing in the state of Texas, is out for about a 4-yard pickup before Dennis Brown can make the tackle.
Well, here's a guy that Williams, as a matter of fact, here's a guy that Marty Schottenheimer found in the Senior Bowl, as he's done in coaching it. He's found 3 people. Now look at up inside, Michael Carter and Larry Roberts doing a good job. Right at this point, San Francisco is beating Kansas City to the punch all across the board, and that's a major problem. They're going to have to do something about it.
Williams appeared to be hit in the eye. Vlasic, plenty of time. Incomplete to Burden. In a crowd, he was well covered. Todd Bowles, the veteran, acquired from the Redskins by way of Plan B, broke it up.
Again, the play was disrupted by the San Francisco pass rush. And consequently, Vlasic had to move and then find a receiver. And as I can only say it so many ways, but at this point, the Kansas City offensive line is not handling the quickness and the power of the San Francisco defensive line.
John Taylor at the receiving end of this Barker punt, and he takes the fair catch at the 23-yard line, and a flag is dropped, and they may have interfered with his opportunity to catch the ball, although Washington, applauding the call, may have felt that it was not a complete fair catch signal. We'll see.
It looked like a real close play right.
Illegal block on the receivers, number 22. We will penalize 10 yards from the dead ball spot. First down.
Well, if we take a look at it, it was no question a problem. Now you'll see this. Now you see right to the left of the screen, the clip itself.
Todd Bowles, number 22. So the Niners will start from their own 13.
ABC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the trucks you can depend on, the trucks that last. By Burger King, where you always get great tasting food your way, right away. By Schick Tracer, it traces every curve on your face. And by Coors Light, the silver bullet is the right beer now.
San Francisco trying to equal the Cowboys' record of competing in 9 consecutive playoffs. But they need to win 2 and perhaps get some big-time help elsewhere. As Bono on first down leading 7-0 goes deep toward Rice. And Kevin Ross has him blanketed.
Ross was in perfect position all the way down the field. And Taylor just couldn't get by Ross. Ross had him all the way down the field. A good play, good call, good fake, but Bono, in this case, didn't throw to the right guy because he had this tight end down the middle, Brent Jones. Steve
Bono, one of the many backups to see significant action in this National Football League season. Wow. One after another. Look at it. There's 18 total backups that have played this year, and most of them, again, will start this weekend. Look at that list.
You know, it really points to a revision or a different interpretation of the rules protecting the quarterback. There's no question about it.
2nd and 10, and again a quick shift offensively by San Francisco, and the give to Dexter Carter. He finds a little hole up the middle, gets out to the 20, a gain of about 7. Dan Saliamua in on the stop.
Saliamua, that's interesting. Jesse Sapolo, the center for the 49ers, and Dan Saliamua, both of Samoan heritage. Both families go back to Samoa. Both live in the San Diego area. And here are the two guys who are good friends in the offseason. Spent a lot of time with each other. For the first time, really competing directly head-on-head with each other. And it's interesting how the Samoan community would look at this one.
3rd and 3. Bono gets away from pressure and has the first down and more. Out of bounds at the 38-yard line. 18-yard gain.
Well, they wanted to cross those receivers, which we expected on the last 3rd down situation, but Kansas City did a great job. You see people crossing and running into each other, but now Bono instinctively runs. This really smacks of Joe Montana. Now, Steve Bono does not have Montana's speed, but he has the same kind of instincts. Now, here's our matchup. And an excellent fake inside, but look at Bono come right up between people.
Well, Jesse Sapolo won that fall. He played at Hawaii. Saliamua at the same time was at Arizona State. Good protection. Wide open is Rice. And he's to the 48-yard line. Tackled by J.C. Pearson, number 24.
Well, if Kansas City is expecting this year to be a Super Bowl contender, a playoff winner, then they're going to have to do a little bit better, because right now San Francisco is just cutting them up. They'll run with the ball for 5 to 7 yards, and they'll throw to wide open receivers. And at this point, Kansas City is simply off balance.
Bill, Jerry Rice was the 3rd wide receiver picked in that 1985 draft. And remember, Al Toon went to the Jets, and then Eddie Brown, Cincinnati. What was it about him, particularly out of Mississippi Valley State, other than tremendous numbers, that attracted you?
All you had to see him, Dick, was on film or tape. All you had to see was him running in that style, in that great sort of antelope stride where he can just reach out and motor through people. And anybody that can catch 100 passes in a given year, you know, has stamina. And the system they had at Mississippi Valley was excellent for him. The minute I saw him, I wanted him. Of course, it didn't look as though we'd ever get him. Here we go again.
Another gain for Rice to the 40 and another first down.
Because we were in the process of going to the World Championship that year, and I knew Rice would be picked much, much earlier. So it took a trade with New England toward the day of the draft to get it done. Now look at Jerry sprint and then burst and pivot back, and now look at the concentration. Two people nailing him, and he holds on to the ball. He has everything. It's that simple.
Plus, he's just an immaculate player in terms of trying to perfect all the skills. Even as we watched him in practice 2 days ago, while other things were going on, he wasn't needed. He was off by himself, working on stutter steps, trying to go through his mind. How could I really put a different move on a cornerback, make him think I'm going one way and dart the other? This is Carter. And he gets short yardage to the 36 of Kansas City.
Well, speaking of Rice again, first, great stamina. Speed that is much better than your actual timed speed.
Yeah, the scout said he times in 4.6, but game speed is 4.2.
Functional speed, Dick, that's a critical factor in football, and often the scouts want to bring back some raw statistics. Plus that, all that experience in receiving the ball down at Mississippi Valley. Hundreds of passes a day in a game, catching 8 and 10 a game, running with it. But then when he came to us, Dwight Clark in particular, and Freddie Solomon, really took them under their wing and really helped Jerry get a good start.
Second down, 7.
Oh, boy, it's Rice open. Oh, gee.
First down to the 20. Lloyd Burris and J.C. Pearson bring him down. That's 3 in a row for Jerry Rice. 17 on that play.
Rice was basically covered by one man from the outside in, no help underneath. And the pattern itself just opened right up. You'll see Rice by himself with no defender within gunshot of him almost. So right now, the 49ers have got Kansas City totally off balance, and they're mixing their plays beautifully. And, of course, they've got some great talent in those outside receivers.
Steve Bono having a terrific first quarter, 6-4-8. 3 minutes plus remaining in this period, and San Francisco looking for a 14-0 lead. Is it Rice again?
Rice.
Yep. Oh, and drops the ball.
Well, he wanted to run with that before he caught it.
That is a rarity.
What Jerry wanted to do was run across the field. But the minute he saw a zone defense, he pivoted to a stop. Bono saw it, and he threw him the ball. But Rice, of course, wanted to run before the catch. Thought he had a lot of room to go with it.
Bill, all the superlatives and certainly earned by Rice, but there's also another side. Some feel that he's a whiner. Did you feel that aspect of his personality?
Hey, look, when you're a confident athlete, when you expect results, when you demand a lot of yourself, darn right, you might be critical because your expectations are so darn high.
That's Kevin Porter making the stop on Carter for no gain, maybe a loss.
You know, you almost have to account among the great performers in sports for a certain amount of frustration that'll vent itself if they're not having the great performance from week to week. You almost have to overlook that. And of course, you counsel people on how to handle the stresses, but that occurs.
Now there's Steve Young, and it's been well documented that Rice, without being unkind, has said that he actually prefers Bono because Bono's like Montana. He would rather pass than run, where Young, so many times, he's such a brilliant runner, will run the football, and Rice says, here I am about to break open, and doggone it, now I'm a blocker instead of a receiver. 10th play of the drive, 3rd and 10, underneath to Rathman, and Porter twists him out of bounds inside the 15. It'll be short of the first down, and here comes Kofor as George Seifert says, let's get 3.
Well, Kansas City played that very, very well, but regardless, the 49ers were still able to get a 6 or 7 yard gain out of a play that was defensed very, very well. And so the system of football is functioning and functioning beautifully with Steve Bono. And of course it functioned beautifully with Steve Young. Steve Young's had an excellent, great career with the 49ers. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm sure that Rice would like Bono to throw him the ball, but Young's instinctive running has been a real factor for them.
Kofor kicks it anyway. It would be good, but Sally Amua jumped offside, and that would give San Francisco a first down. Yes, sir.
False start. Offense.
Oh, he's drawn
Number 67,
offside.
5-yard penalty. Still fourth down.
So that'll make it a 36-yard try.
It looked as though somebody on the right side moved for the 49ers. Maybe we can find out exactly. The center's okay, I believe. He lifted his head, but that's legal. But it looked like the tight end on the right side very well could have been the culprit in that. Just shifted slightly. Now, you'll see Sapolo's head come up and down, but typically that's okay. Boy, that's a tough one to figure. But, again, on the right side, the tight end position moved.
So it becomes a 36-yard attempt, and he misses it. And that continues a very frustrating year for Mike Kofor in the field goal game. The Niners have less field goals than any team in the NFL. In San Francisco, and our aerial camera facilities today provided by Metropolitan Life Insurance Company. And our cameraman up there is Bob Mickelson. Shame the weather isn't a little better to see the beautiful city to the north, but overcast, foggy. 7-0 the score remains as Vlasic hits Burden. And he's out across the 30-yard line. Make that Emil Harry, who is playing near his collegiate home of Stanford University. Harry, who has 31 catches this year.
It was just given. The 49ers just gave them that pattern by the coverage, and it was well done by Harry and by Vlasic. You know, Emil Harry is really a unique guy. He's just sort of a renaissance man. When you meet this guy, he's got an opinion on every world topic. He's knowledgeable about everything from nutrition to politics. Very unique guy.
Second first down for Kansas City. The other was on the penalty. Almost intercepted on the deflection as Keith DeLong broke it up. Intended for Rob Thomas.
Gee, that was such a simple pass pattern. People just went straight up the field and stopped, and Vlasic tried to throw it. I think the offensive system of Kansas City is just not adaptable to somebody that's moving the ball well against them. They'd much prefer to methodically move down the field and establish the run. And thus far, San Francisco's totally consumed the running game of Kansas City, and that's made it tough on Vlasic.
Final minute of the first quarter. That's Bill Jones in front of James Saxon now. Saxon gets the handoff. I checked that. It's Word from Virginia. Remember, Harvey Williams went out with a poke in the eye, and Christian Okoye not in uniform today with a knee injury. So Marty Schottenheimer depleted in that running core.
Christian flatly states he'll play next week. I saw him just before the team took the field and had a chance to visit with him. He says it's better each day as he is. He'll be back next week, and boy, do they need him. Because if they're going to adapt and utilize this kind of offense, they need that power to break through those tacklers, and they don't get that really with Williams and Word.
Okoye with 999 yards this season. Kansas City lets the final seconds tick away, and that is the first quarter in San Francisco. George Seifert told us that actually, despite the record and that he might not get to the playoffs this year, this has been his most enjoyable season. He had the feeling that he now in his third year feels this is his team, and it hasn't all gone well for him with injuries at all. Montana being lost back in the summer, but he's had to make the changes, and he's really in charge, and he's gotten a lot of satisfaction out of it. And Vlasic not very happy about that, and the ball is free, and McNair covers for Kansas City. Charles Haley forces the fumble.
Vlasic didn't even appear that he realized Haley was right down his throat. Now watch Haley come from the left of the screen, and just pure speed will beat Baldinger. Just pure speed. And Vlasic's inexperienced, Dick, really showed up there. Once he was hit, he's got to pull the ball in and protect it. Now, this is just a fast speed move outside. Baldinger didn't get out. Listen, Vlasic is playing around with that football when Haley's got a hold of him.
Flag down as Barker scuffs one to Taylor. Short and low, and Taylor with a return on. Finally knocked down at the Kansas City 41-yard line.
See, now that's where DeBerg would have handled that last situation differently. Once the defender's got a hold of you, you don't reach out with that ball, because if one's got you, there's going to be another one coming pretty quick.
The other thing, Bill, what a change. Even in penalty is against Kansas City, undoubtedly San Francisco will take the short punt. The other is that 10-15 years ago, that man breaking in on the quarterback, just trying to make a hard tackle. Now they go right for the ball. Haley just immediately.
Illegal motion on the offensive team. Penalty is declined. First down.
Haley swats it away. San Francisco in business in Kansas City territory. Haley, who had 16 sacks last year to lead the NFC, only 5 this year. He's been plagued by various injuries. He's not 100%, but boy, he looked it on that last play. And Steve Bono in San Francisco leading 7-0 here early in the second quarter. Take over at the 41. The quickie. Kevin Ross makes the tackle at the 28-yard line. First down.
Bono audible to a slant pattern. Apparently they can identify that Kansas City defense by someone's alignment. So he changed the play at the line and just came right back and hit Taylor. Now you can see people retreating, Kevin Ross retreating in his zone defense. And so they just split the linebackers with that slant pass. And apparently it was, as I say, part of the game plan, because he just came up audible and hit it.
San Francisco's third possession. They drove to a touchdown on the opening drive. As you can see, the first down's indicating how they've dominated play thus far. They missed a field goal only because of a penalty. It was successful from 31. Penalty declined, nullified it, and they tried again from 36. No good. It's Taylor again to the 22-yard line. About 6 to 7 on that play, and another flag down.
Boy. Kansas City's got to be getting frustrated, because every time Bono retreats, he's got all the time he needs, and he's picking out, in that case, his third alternate receiver. Taylor was just there to wall off a defensive lineman or a linebacker.
Personal foul. Defense number 54. Unnecessary roughness. Half the distance. First down.
Tracy Simeon, who played in the World League this spring.
Taylor's on his way down, and oh yeah, she just can't do that. Maybe you can in the WLAF and get away with it, but right here you've just got too many people, too many officials concentrating on that ball as the man goes down. You just don't do that. But that's frustration, Dick.
He's from TCU, played for the Montreal Machine. He was one of those that wore the helmet cam in one of the telecasts. First down at the 11. Bono to Carter.
Oh, that was an excellent play. Looks like Martin came from the outside on a blitz and caught Carter going up inside.
Kevin Porter from his safety spot makes the tackle at the 9, a gain of 2. Tracy Simeon out of TCU was a free agent picked by the Steelers in '89. And has been injured, and look at his career. Played 1 game for the Steelers, 90 because of injuries when he was picked up as a Plan B by New Orleans. No games, and this year he has 31 games. This is his 31st game, counting the World League and NFL.
Amazing, and he looks fresh and vital and in good shape. 31 games in 1 year. He's got some more yet.
Second and 8. Touchdown, John Taylor.
Kevin Ross, excellent coverage corner. Some people say one of the best corners in football. Just allowed John Taylor to start up the field, start in, and then break right back out. What they call a shake pattern, and they were ready to do it. They knew they had single coverage, and Taylor, as we've acknowledged, is one of the great receivers in football. But Bono is doing a beautiful job, no question about it.
9 yards for Taylor's 9th touchdown of the season. Kofor, boy, he hooked that one. It's good, but flirted with a problem again. And Vlasic has a knee injury. Look at that left knee has been wrapped, and we don't know if he's going to return. DeBerg is warming up. One of the great cities of the world on the bay, San Francisco.
Boy, that's inspiring. Beautiful.
Mark Vlasic finally getting his chance. He started a couple of games with San Diego. The Chargers had him as their starter at the beginning of last year, and then Billy Joe Tolliver took over. He went plan B to Kansas City, gets his chance to start, and here in the first half, a knee injury. We'll show you how it happened after this kickoff by Kofor as he sends it down the middle, and it's at the 6-yard line to Troy Stratford. The ex-Dolphin out to the 22-yard line.
Well,
it
appeared, Dick, that Vlasic was hit right around the ankles at the end of this play. There's Haley, and he gets there first. But look, Larry Roberts down below catching that ankle. And when that happened, meanwhile, Pierce holds up over the top. So Vlasic, his inexperience shows here. He should be protecting himself. And you saw him trying to throw the ball at the last instant, and he got hit by 3 people, and there he is.
So Steve DeBerg, the veteran, who got the hook from Schottenheimer earlier in the week, decided, Coach Marty Schottenheimer, that DeBerg just not having a good year. He admitted that to his teammates. There are his numbers, almost 60% completion, but only 1 more touchdown than interception, and Schottenheimer does not like turnovers. Play action by DeBerg. He's going to an open man, Harry, and Emil Harry is to the 39-yard line. Merton Hanks, the tackler.
That was well done. Extremely well done. They ran short motion, that we would call it. The 49ers tried to adjust their curvature, and he went right back out. Good fake again by typical DeBerg. Then he throws a seam pattern right along the sideline, and the 49ers were just out of position. If Harry hadn't been forced to catch a low pass, he might have kept right on going. But you know, Dick, the DeBerg thing, he just hasn't been getting the ball downfield. It's nothing like it was a year ago.
That one, he was brilliant, only threw 4 interceptions and 444 throws. He goes deep, and that's been the pattern. Throwing deep and throwing too long. Tim Barnett, the rookie from Jackson State, the intended receiver. Last year, DeBerg completed 7 passes of 60 or more yards. This year, he has only 1 completion for 41 yards or more.
Well, that's the difference right there. That's why Kansas City is a wild card team instead of a division champion. And it's partially because of things out of DeBerg's control. But that last pass was 20 yards, or I'd say 5 yards too far, but conceivably thrown 20 yards late.
Give us the word. Hit in the backfield. No chance at all. Pierce Holt.
It looks as though the Kansas City offensive line is playing at one speed and the 49er defense is playing at another. Now, Pierce Holt just simply splits a blocker. In that particular case, Baldinger just didn't get down and cut his man off, and Holt just penetrated. So San Francisco's just beating Kansas City to the punch all across the field.
They'll tee it off now, 3rd and 15. Charles Haley, watch him on that defensive left side. That's him on the right side. Yeah, he's ready to go.
Well, I guess it could afford the offside in that particular case, but Haley is lining up way outside, and just trying to use his speed.
Offside. Defense. Number 94. Repeat the down. 3rd down.
Is that they call that the elephant position? Was that your terminology?
That's what we developed. That was my contribution. I thought of it.
Why elephant?
The other guys coach it.
Why elephant?
Well, we're just using animal words. You see, you'd be peacock.
I'd be peacock.
Yeah, right.
Well, thank you very much.
But the point is, elephant was just an animal word. We had a buffalo defense, and accordingly.
3rd and 10. DeBerg to Thomas, incomplete. Well covered by Don Griffin. One of the underrated cornerbacks in the NFL, Griffin. He just plays solid week after week.
I'm telling you, Dick, the rest of the NFC had better be careful, because if the 49ers get to those playoffs, they're going to be tough. That's beautiful. Did you see Griffin reach in with his right hand, just as the coach, as Ray Rhodes, the defensive backfield coach, teaches it, reaches in with a right hand and flicks that ball out of there.
Barker hasn't kicked well today, and this one's fairly short as well. Taylor, fair catch at the 24-yard line. So far at Candlestick, it's been all San Francisco. 10 minutes left in the first half. Dick Enberg with Bill Walsh. Welcome back to Candlestick Park. Mark Vlasic, the starter for Kansas City, sidelined with a knee injury. Steve DeBerg has resumed his position as the quarterback for the Chiefs. Meanwhile, Steve Bono, 10 for 13 in his first half, 91 yards and 2 touchdown passes, one to Rice, one to Taylor. Starts from the 24. Secondary receivers. Dexter Carter tackled at the 49, fumbles, and Kansas City recovered if it's ruled a fumble. Flag is down, and it could be a face mask.
One of the major factor thus far today is Kansas City is getting no pressure on Bono, none whatsoever. Again, he looked to throw. The
player was ruled down. We have a face mask, 5-yard penalty against the defense. First down.
They looked to throw to Taylor, and then Bono finally came back down the field to Carter. So he's going to his second and third receivers. There's the face mask. They go to his second and third receivers, and he still doesn't have anybody near him in the pass rush. So for Kansas City to take step 2 or 3 in the playoffs, they've got to generate just more. Now, Neil Smith's got 8 sacks, and Derek Thomas, of course, has got 13 and a half.
Yeah.
But apparently the rest of it just isn't developing. But of course, Thomas now has Steve Wallace, one of the best pass protectors in football, facing him.
Thomas into pass coverage.
Oh, it's a pass down the field.
It's Sidney throwing long for Rice. Knocked away at the last minute. Deron Cherry, the veteran, playing that safety spot, said, "Oh, I better get back there," and did, as the pass hung just enough.
From our vantage point, you could see it coming, because Sidney got the lateral pass out there, so you knew it was going to be a throw.
Sidney was a wishbone quarterback at Kansas, so
now you'll see a lineman come out to pass protect, and you'll see Sidney catch the ball behind Bono, so you know it's going to be a pass down the field. Now you see people coming out to protect, and Sidney throwing down the field, and I must say that this is something we had developed about 7 or 8 years ago, and Sidney actually threw a touchdown against New Orleans in exactly that same situation.
So leading 14-0, it's 2nd and 10. Bono open as the tight end, Brent Jones. It's another first down. San Francisco just moving relentlessly.
Well, they're just getting receivers wide open all over the field. Brent Jones' dad, by the way, played football with me in college. His dad Mike's a former high school coach, and you remember Brent telling us, Dick, his dad wanted him so desperately to be a quarterback, and they played catch. Brent was learning to catch the ball, not throw it, and his dad didn't realize it. So Brent became a tight end, and his dad desperately wanted him to be a quarterback. But he got a lot of passes. He threw and he caught them, but he began to catch them, and that was the difference. I think he's the best receiving tight end in the league right now.
Played here in the Bay Area at Santa Clara. Toss to Rathman. Rathman, who has not had a big season, a 2.9-yard rushing average, gets about 3-4. Steve Bono not only playing well, but he's a bargain in the NFL marketplace. Based on his salary, he's making a little over $16,000 a game. Steve Young, on the other hand, he's in that $1 million category, $117,000 per. And Joe Montana, one of the richest of NFL players, $235,000 a game, and of course hasn't. Well, no wonder he's smiling. And they come in on Monday, is payday in the NFL. They come in on Monday, and the nickname for guys who don't play but get a check is Jesse, as in Jesse James. They say, Joe comes in, "Hey Jesse, here you are again on Monday." Bono, a little too tall for Jamie Williams, the tight end, and he was wide open.
Well, that was the first time the pressure was there, and Kansas City resorted to a blitz, and they got someone, I didn't get the number, open right down the middle that San Francisco didn't handle, and that's what did the damage. So you'll see people coming up. You see Thomas being handled, but right up inside, you'll see it. It could be Dino Hackett. Typically it is coming inside there.
It is Hackett. Back to pass. It's going to be 4th and 10. 2 minutes left in the first half. It's 2-0
It is Hackett.
Bono got up a little slowly. He's an inspiring story, and for young people who seem to be overlooked, think things are coming to an end when it comes to sports, well, Bono felt he was going to be a stockbroker. He had basically given up 3 years ago. No one wanted him except San Francisco. 4 wide receivers on 3rd and 5. Fumble, and Kansas City says that they have it. No signal yet by Hantek. Yes,
he got it. Well, Bono got a little bit careless there himself. He didn't step up into the pocket quickly enough. And from the outside, you'll see 2 outside backers blitzing, and Bono just didn't pay attention. That same thing happened to Vlasic earlier.
Chris Martin, 57, is the man who stripped him of the ball. Neil Smith recovered. Francisco fighting to get into the playoffs, leading 14-0. First turnover, though, Kansas City on Bono's fumble starts at the 37. And it's Barry Ward for just a couple hard-earned.
Mike Walter, I believe, in making the big hit.
Reminder, at the conclusion of today's game, we'll be presenting the Avis We Try Harder Award, which will be given to the game's most valuable player. There's Neil Smith, who recovered the fumble, but it was Chris Martin's 5th sack that forced the fumble and his 4th forced fumble. So Martin's been a big play operator for Marty Schottenheimer's defense, and they are a +13 in takeaway giveaway, where San Francisco a -7. DeBerg just got it off to the tight end, Jonathan Hayes. Todd Bowles, the tackler, at the 43.
San Francisco brought people in that particular case. Dennis Brown. I was going to say Derek. Dennis Brown is right on top of him. Now, the play is designed to allow somebody to pursue the fake, but Dennis Brown just went right after DeBerg. You see, he wasn't even concerned with the possibility of the ball going the other way.
His Huskies still looking for a national championship. Unbeaten this year. 3rd down and 3.
This is going to be tough. There it is.
Tim Harris, the former Green Bay Packer, his 2nd sack.
Well, Rich Baldinger's having a tough afternoon. I'm sure he'll want to get on that plane because he's getting beat. That time it was Harris. Before it had been Haley, and he's just getting knocked back into the quarterback. Now, he's going to have to make contact lower, or they're going to have to give him some help, because at that critical point, he's just getting inundated.
Barker to punt for the 4th time in this first half. Make that the 5th time. Taylor at the 27, out of bounds at the 29. 14-0. The 49ers lead with 6:21 left in this first half. That was a 39-yard punt. As we look ahead at our schedule on this Saturday evening on NBC, and always a night of plenty of fun, lots of laughs. Golden Girls kicks it off, followed by Walter and Emily. Empty Nest, Nurses, and All New Sisters tonight on NBC. And a reminder, right after our coverage of this game from San Francisco, the presentation live from New York, the Heisman Memorial Trophy Award Show. So stay with us. Some of the great names in this sport: O.J. Simpson, Tony Dorsett, Earl Campbell have won that treasured Heisman. And of course, the favorite this year is Michigan's Desmond Howard. Dexter Carter hit just as he gets the handoff, as slashing through is No, that's not Neil Smith. That's Leonard Griffin in there now.
Griffin took an angle charge inside, and he could do that because both outside linebackers were blitzing, so they stopped the run with that early blitz. Now, if Bono sees that again, he's going to come up with one of those slant patterns, and they're going to have to be ready for it. It's so critical now that Kansas City at least gets out at half without the 49ers scoring again, so they can regroup.
Tight end Jones in motion. Bono goes underneath to Carter. Charles Washington, an extra defensive back, makes the tackle. It'll be 3rd and 4. Well, San Francisco, this is their 5th possession. Bono has driven the team twice to touchdowns. One a short pass to Rice, another a 9-yarder to John Taylor. Then they had a field goal that was successful, but a penalty nullified it. And then Kofor missed from 36 yards, and then the fumble. So Kansas City, other than the fumble, really hasn't stopped San Francisco.
Well, when you look at those numbers, 32 yards to 170, you see total domination. And Kansas City is I can't believe they'd be overlooking a game like this, thinking of the Raiders. It's just a matter of them not being prepared for a team that plays as physical.
That's Derek Thomas as he dumps it off, and it's complete. It'll be short of a first down. What a throw. Bono with Thomas all over him, able to loop it to Rathman, but it'll be shy of the first down.
Now, Bono that was a little desperation there, because in throwing that ball, he could be giving the Chiefs 7 points real fast. So I wouldn't recommend he do that again. Now, Thomas coming up the field, and it looks as though something happened with Harris Barton. For some reason, Harris Barton tried to cut block him or something. He just lost him completely.
So in the punt for the first time today. There's Thomas, who's second in the NFL to Swilling with 13.5 sacks. Joe Prokop, the former Jet, been around the league. Picked up on waivers this year, a left footer.
It would really help if Kansas City could come up with some kind of play to get on the board.
Stratford is to the 35-yard line, and Kansas City, with just under 4 minutes left, will try to muster a drive. They're down by 2 scores. The reign began 10 years ago when San Francisco won the first of 4 Super Bowl titles before she was born. 14-0. San Francisco trying to make it to the playoffs 9 straight years. Kansas City down by 2 touchdowns. Steve DeBerg starts at the 35. 3:58 left before the intermission. DeBerg changing his play. Gives to Barry Word. Word, who played at Virginia, around the corner to the 41-yard line.
Now, that was their best running play of the game. Now, maybe there's a formula in there somewhere, but that time Zott, Grunhard, and John Alt came out. John Alt came out, did a fine job of turning that play to the outside, and very, very nice job by Zott on Mike Walter.
Barry Word, who had a sensational season his first year with Kansas City last year, rushed for 1,015 and a 5-yard average. That's down this season to 3.9. Harvey Williams, of course, the rookie, the #1 pick, getting more work, so Word has been rather quiet. He shows that form of last season there as he picks up the first down at the 47-yard line. Mike Walter, the tackler.
Well, what they've done is come in with 2 tight ends, a single back, and then run a running play away from the safety. Now, here's the same play going right that had just gone left. And it's a nice job of run blocking by Baldinger that time. So he is making up some ground with his run blocking. I'm sure he'd prefer a pass not be called in that huddle.
2:48, 2:47 left in the first half. On first down, DeBerg with Word behind him. Underneath, short gain to Jonathan Hayes, the tight end, at the San Francisco 49-yard line. Walter and DeLong, the tacklers.
The pass was supposed to be to Tim Barnett. DeBerg couldn't get it there because Hanks had it shut down.
Gave progress to the 48 at 2nd and 5. Schottenheimer, 7 seasons with Cleveland and Kansas City, never a losing year. And he's assured that again this season at 9 and 7. Word breaks a tackle. And another. Skids out of bounds at the 45, 3 yards shy of a first down.
Excellent job of blocking by John Alt, David Zott. That left side of the line is pretty darn good. And running to the left, they've been able to make some room, pushing people back.
At halftime, the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report, live from the Downtown Athletic Club in New York, as we'll have the Heisman Award presentation for you at 7 o'clock Eastern Time live this evening. That's the 2-minute timeout. Minutes to go, and Kansas City for the first time penetrating the 49er half of the field. It's 3rd and 3 at the San Francisco 46. George Seifert, your former assistant, Stanford, and here at San Francisco. Head coach at Cornell at one time.
Oh, yeah. Needless to say, this is the biggest play of the game for Kansas City.
Trying to keep it alive, down by 2 scores. Out of the backfield to Phil Jones. And Jones, who rarely gets a chance to run it, but is a receiver, 3rd down, short yardage, picks up the first down.
You know, here's an amazing guy. All he does is block. He gets 1 pass or 2 passes this year. He doesn't carry
that was
the ball.
12. That was his 12th
pass, and he doesn't carry the ball at all. Right?
Zero rushes all season long.
But he's been a major factor in the running game because he's much like a big guard playing in the backfield.
Another play action by DeBerg underneath to Jones, and not much there to the 39-yard line. And with 3 timeouts left, we'll see if DeBerg, yes, he'll spend one right now. Bill Romanowski made the play. 1 minute 22 seconds left in this first half. Kansas City trying to get on the board. Bill Jones, after that short catch, gets up limping and holding a knee, so he comes out. James Saxon replaces him. We asked Marty yesterday, since Jones has played every game and hasn't had one single run, does he even have a running play in the book? He said, we have one, but we don't plan to use it. And Harvey Williams, the rookie back, we were kidding him, said, do you guys kid Jones about the fact that he just blocks and catches a rare pass and doesn't run at all? He said, oh, no, you don't kid. No, you don't kid that. And he clenched his fist and kind of mimicked hitting himself as if to say he'd pop you if you laid that one on him. On 2nd and 8, DeBerg incomplete to O'Neal Harry. And DeBerg under pressure.
Yeah, he was under pressure, Dick. It wasn't as though he was about to be sacked, but his options were running out fast because he knew he had maybe 0.5 seconds left to make a decision. And he sort of jerked the ball toward a receiver. That's what's happened to him this year. And I don't know if it means he's at the end of his career or not, but he's sort of prematurely throwing, and he wasn't doing it a year ago.
Tough day for the visitors on this Saturday. If you look at DeBerg, the handsome guy who played nearby, San Jose State Spartans. The visitors from Tampa Bay shut out at Chicago, and Kansas City shut out so far visiting San Francisco.
Look out.
Good job by DeBerg to get away from Holden. Dropped by Tim Barnett. Barnett had it at the 24-yard line.
Boy, that was an excellent job. DeBerg just held the ball. Holden came right down his throat, and DeBerg simply, like a matador, simply stepped aside and was still able to make the play.
I like that. Ole.
Ole.
They're not going to kick here at the 39-yard line. Nick Lowry was kicked 20 in a row. He's going after the NFL record, Kevin Butler's 24. But this is out of his range and down by 2 touchdowns and 1:12 left in the half.
Boy, I don't like this call because the 49ers are deadly in the last minute of the half.
4th and 8. Underneath and dropped by Todd McNair. He wouldn't have had the first down anyway.
But the problem is, Dick, well, yeah, it's a change of possession, so the clock would have stopped anyway. But now that's asking for trouble because historically San Francisco in the last minute of a half can be deadly.
Why is that?
It's a matter of practicing over a period of years throughout training camp and developing specific plays for those situations. Here's Mike Holmgren.
Yeah, but doesn't every team have that 2-minute, 1-minute offense?
I think the formula's better at San Francisco. I really do. It's certainly proven to be.
What's the key to it? Give us a little insight as to what are the keys to San Francisco moving seemingly at will, at least when Montana's been.
With Young and I think really honestly all the quarterbacks, Bono's already done it. It's selected plays that break the given defenses you run into, those prevent defenses. They have a way to breaking those.
Leading 14-0. They have all 3 timeouts left. Gallen try by Taylor. Incomplete. Taylor from Delaware State. Okay, 3rd round. How did you spot him?
Well, I'll tell you how we spotted him. I'm glad you asked. Because we were looking at tapes because we needed a receiver to replace Dwight Clark primarily. We wanted a guy that could do the same things. Well, this guy at Delaware State, he was running full speed down the field and leaped up over the crossbar, clearly over it, up to his elbows and made a catch. Now, his leap must have been 45 inches on the run. And when we looked at that, we said, Clark can't quite do that.
We'll take it.
But we'll take this guy.
Bono had his arm hit as he tried to deliver the ball on the run. It'll be 3rd down and 10 with 57 seconds left in the half. Dan Saliamua.
Now, let's see if Saliamua beats his very, very good friend, Jess Sapolo. Saliamua is right in front of Guy McIntyre, and there's Sapolo and Saliamua. And really, it was really Bono coming by that made the difference. That was really a standoff for the families of both guys. Let's call it a standoff.
Saliamua will be acknowledged as maybe the Plan B pick. The first really solid contributor of that Plan B program 2 years ago. Bono to Taylor. And out of bounds seconds, it appears, shy of the first down. Eric Everett from Texas Tech made the stop with 51 seconds left. It'll be 4th down and 1.
Taylor is a marvelous guy going for the ball and running after the catch. I don't think there's a better receiver in the league right this minute who can make the bigger catch, the more spectacular catch, and then run with the ball.
Well, that was part of that 2-minute, 1-minute success when you got guys like Rice and Taylor catch the short ball 2 yards downfield and then run with it.
Well, I like your thought there. Just leave it at that.
Domino Pizza halftime report to follow. Beautiful kick by Prokop. Stratford rolled at the 17-yard line. You know, I've got a little piece of inside information on Joe Prokop, the kicker. To understand when they do his life in film, Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to play his part. Prokop. I mean, it just seems made for Schwarzenegger.
Dick, you got your insights, sir. The viewers must enjoy these insights.
To be seen at your local theater.
Benjamin Franklin of broadcasting.
Ooh, OJ?
Oh, yeah.
Will and OJ and Bob at halftime. They'll give you some insights on the upcoming Heisman Award. Downtown Athletic Club in New York City, where the Heisman Trophy will be presented, and it'll be the upset of the century if Desmond Howard doesn't win it. If he does, the second time a University of Michigan star has won the award. Old 98, Tom Harmon won it back 51 years ago. Offside on Haley, and DeBerg, as good as anyone in the league at drawing that defense offside, picks up a cheap 5.
Now, DeBerg is absolute expert with that snap count.
Encroachment, defense, number 78, prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Holt was 3 yards offside. Haley was about 12. You picked your man.
DeBerg has a way of using body language to pull people off and then voice inflection. And I think that, in a sense, has kept his career going. When things weren't going well for him, he could certainly do that when they put him in the game.
Had success against the Raiders through the years with that, and they'll be playing Los Angeles next Sunday. DeBerg extricates. Can't hit J.J. Burden on the run. A little low with the throw, but appeared to be catchable.
Well, DeBerg's a good friend of mine, and I know yours, and been a fan of his for years. But this could be it. It could be winding down for the guy. He's had a great career, a marvelous career, and his ability to sustain himself from team to team, playing whatever role he's asked, and then finally being a legitimate starter and doing a great job in the last couple of years at Kansas City. But right now, he's just not in sync. Now, whether we can get that back again ever, who knows?
2nd and 5.
Offside again.
Free play for DeBerg, goes downfield to Barnett. Broken up by Todd Bowles. Back to DeBerg. In his 15th season, he is the dean of the NFL quarterbacks from San Jose State. Dallas picked him in a late round.
Defense, number 94, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Now, 2 offside penalties give the Chiefs a first down with 30 seconds left in the half. DeBerg, how did you come about acquiring him?
Well, I inherited him on.
Oh, he was already here.
And he was the bright spot, and it was felt that he could very well be an NFL starting quarterback.
Did you have Montana? Was he here when you started?
We drafted Joe, and so we had the 2. And Steve broke a record for completions in the NFL that year, our first year. Did a fine job, but then Montana began to loom on the surface.
Hit from behind and lucky to get that one off. Oh, boy. Number 92, Tim Harris. He's been harassing DeBerg, as has Haley from the other side.
Now, in this particular case, Alt is being shoved back. So this pass protection, as we reported a little earlier, watching the tapes, that's really been a concern of mine in watching tapes of Kansas City. Their pass protection just too darn soft and giving too much ground. And I think that's had something to do with DeBerg having just an average year.
Yet Kansas City is second in the NFL to Washington. Washington 5 sacks. Kansas City has allowed only 16.
Well, what they're doing is giving way too much ground. Look at this.
Roberts, and that's into a screen to McNair. Incomplete with 20 seconds left and brings up 4th down.
Well, they're going to have to punt, obviously, because the 49ers are still dangerous with 20 seconds remaining.
Now let's check that. 3rd down. It's 3rd and 10. Marty Schottenheimer, he's going to have to really peruse those notes to try to find something that works at halftime.
You know, DeBerg, we had Montana and DeBerg, and Steve was playing well, but it was obvious that Joe had greatness in his future. But we couldn't have them both. Steve's so dynamic as a leader. He would just overshadow Joe. Joe couldn't develop with Steve around.
Boy, that's almost a jailbreak, and then DeBerg does hit Emil Harry, who wisely gets out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Bill Romanowski, the defender for San Francisco, with 12 seconds left in the half. 18 yards on that play.
Well, just one downfield play could get 3 points, and boy, do they need it.
Schottenheimer now 48. You know, people forget he was a terrific linebacker at the University of Pittsburgh, and made, when we had the college all-star game as the start of a season when the best of the college ranks played the NFL champion, he made that all-star team. We'll share that with you second half. DeBerg hit by Harris.
Just nowhere to throw the ball, and this is one of the times where a prevent defense actually worked. The 49ers had 3 people deep, very, very deep, a number of people about 8 yards deep, nowhere to throw the ball.
And Tim Harris, who had the big play against Seattle, forcing the fumble of Dave Craig that allowed the 49ers to come back when they seemed at certain defeat at the Kingdome, has 2 sacks in the first half today. A desperation timeout with 5 seconds left for Kansas City. Marty Schottenheimer, his team has made the playoffs. He feels that this game and next week's against the Raiders so important because he wants to go into the playoffs with a winning momentum. He said there's nothing good that comes out of losing, even though you've clinched the playoff spot.
Not at all.
5 seconds, a chance for a miracle shot. He gets it off. And it's batted away, and thereby goes the first 30 minutes as San Francisco 185 yards. First half to only 66 for Kansas City. 14-0. 49ers will return after this message from the National Football League and a word from your local station. They would win 2 games. If tomorrow these 4 teams win, San Francisco's out. Dallas, Detroit, New Orleans, Atlanta. If those 4 are victorious tomorrow, San Francisco, despite their highest hopes, would be eliminated.
Well, I'm sure the Redskins are watching this, and I'm telling you, they're saying, let's hope the 49ers don't get into the playoffs. It's that simple.
Well, we said that Jerry Rice and John Taylor would bring a smile even to a veteran gray-haired ex-coach's face, and even George Seifert, I'm sure, as he looks at these 2 talented receivers at work, must be able to force a smile. Rice had 4 catches and his 90th touchdown reception, and Taylor had 5 catches and a touchdown in the first half to account for the scoring. And San Francisco will get the ball first. Steve Bono continues to impress as he endeavors to drive his team to 5 straight wins down the stretch. Played at UCLA. He, like Jay Schrader of the Raiders, who preceded Bono, were both catchers on the Bruin baseball team. First, Schrader went on to sign a professional contract. Bono went on trying to find out how to hit that outside curveball.
Well, they're both very fortunate in the case they had a chance to really become starting quarterbacks. I give a lot of credit to Bono, to Mike Holmgren, the offensive coordinator, who you'd have to assume will be an NFL head coach this next year. Well, all the openings we hear about, I'm sure Holmgren will be the #1 choice of any number of those people.
Nick Lowry's kick, a spinner that comes up short to Dexter Carter at the 9. 20, 30, and Porter, a saving tackle after Porter. Only Lowry was left across the 40-yard line. Carter, a 33-yard return.
Carter hasn't done what they had hoped from scrimmage as a running back, but look at him just accelerate through people. He's on a full sprint now. And a week ago, I think it was a week ago, he went all the way.
98 yards against New Orleans.
And in this particular case, you can see that he can be a devastating kickoff return man. Now, whether that's enough to justify a number one draft choice, a lot of people wonder, but he can certainly do that.
Carter and Rathman behind Bono.
Here comes that outside blitz again.
And a screen to Carter, who slips down at the line of scrimmage, and Dino Hackett there to secure him.
Well, the Chiefs had to have made adjustments as to what the 49ers are doing to them offensively, but the Chief offense, when it comes on the field, is going to have to at least get a series of first downs. And there's Bill Cowher, the defensive coordinator. What a challenge, just like Star Wars, coming out of the AFC in that division and then running into this offense. You're not used to seeing these kinds of things.
Shows you the strength of the NFC. Well, here's a team, the 49ers, who may well not get to the playoffs despite their rallying efforts, and yet could be one of the top 4 teams in the NFL.
Again, to the alternate receiver, Jones in this case.
Chris Martin made the tackle at the Kansas City 49, brings up 3rd and short.
You know, Jones was out for a number of weeks with a knee injury, and my feeling is that Brent Jones' return has revitalized the 49ers, because that inside pass receiving as an alternate receiver that Jones offers has been a major difference in controlling the ball. So Jones deservedly would be a Pro Bowl player. Now, whether he can ever get that far, who knows, but he's a wonderful pass receiver.
Taylor in motion. 3rd and 2. Going over the middle. Almost intercepted. It goes right into the hands of Rice. No, it's Taylor. How about that? Right through the hands of the Chiefs defender. I believe it was J.C. Pearson, and Taylor right there to grab the ricochet.
You talk about quick hands and great instincts. Look at this. Taylor concentrating on that ball, those quick hands, and you see it every week. A lot of times it reflects itself in the catch itself. But in this case, he just reaches out and pulls the ball away.
Taylor, who caught that winning touchdown in your final game with the 49ers in the Super Bowl in Miami. On first down, Rathman trips as he takes the handoff. It'll be a loss of a yard as Bill Moss is there for Kansas City.
Now, Moss has had an excellent year. You talk to Marty Schottenheimer. He right away talks about Chris Martin, linebacker, but Bill Moss has had a good, solid year as a defensive lineman. Now, what he needs working to his inside is a little more pass rush. He's got on the outside with Derek Thomas. Of course, the other guy is Deron Cherry, and he's having the best year of his career.
And that includes 6 Pro Bowl years.
So there are some real positive things, obviously, because this team is going to be in the playoffs.
Rice in motion. He goes over the middle, and there he is. 5 yards from the white shirt. And Kevin Ross finally brings him down at the 33-yard line. Juggling the ball on the way, but clutching it for another gain.
Now, Rice comes from across the field in motion. You see him come underneath Brent Jones and getting on the other side of the zone defense, and you see the big hole in the defense. And what the 49ers, look at this. What great athletic ability. But Tracy Simeon, again, hit real late. That's scary. Now, here's Steve Wallace on Thomas.
Well, he's
the ball is gone.
Thomas, hasn't
he just sort of muffled him, just engulfed him.
Well, let's play his dude, Wallace 74, and watch him. He's working against one of the top pass rushers in the game. This is to Mike Sherrard, who is out of bounds at the 27-yard line, and that'll be a first down for San Francisco.
I'm sure that a person like Sid Gilman watching this game can see all the way through the years his football being played out there today in the 49er offense. Just the broad, fully dimensional style of football that San Francisco plays is so much reminiscent of Sid's team with San Diego. And of course, I learned a lot of football from Sid and, of course, Al Davis in this philosophy of football.
Look at Bono. Only 6 have hit the ground. Dave to Carter. That's Porter chasing Bono. Almost intercepted. Did Simeon get it? It was Derek Thomas first, and then Simeon with a dive, and he trapped it.
Simeon's all over the field, but of course some things are happening after the whistle blows, which scares you about him. But in this case, they fake left. Now the Chiefs handle this very, very well. Very well.
Derek Thomas had the interception, couldn't bring it in. And then Simeon, the late try, but it falls to the turf. 10:36 left in the third quarter. San Francisco driving with a 14-0 lead.
You know, Steve Wallace is an interesting case in itself. We drafted Steve Wallace from Auburn basically in the 4th round because he had a wrist injury. And Kevin Fagan in the 4th round also was a great player because he had a knee injury. And in both cases, we sort of took a chance that they'd recover from those injuries and then go on to be NFL players. Now here's a good look at
further review. Play stands as called. Incomplete pass. Yeah. Second down.
No doubt about that.
But Wallace came in with a navicular break in his wrist, and soon thereafter was a bright young prospect.
He helped a pretty good runner there at Auburn, didn't he? I mean, he blocked for pretty good.
He's had a series of guys.
Bo, he was helping Bo through the hole. Steve Wallace, he's allowed only 1 sack all year. Rathman, that play did not fool Chris Martin of Kansas City.
I think the 49ers were in error at one point in trying to save, as you know, Dick, Bubba Paris, trying to save him. They moved Wallace from left to right tackle. They moved Harris to guard. All of that, I suppose, the explanations were to keep Bubba Paris. Well, when Bubba Paris left, Wallace went back where he belonged. Barton went back where he belonged. Foster came in. And now this is one of the best offensive lines in football.
Steve Wallace, he's 6'5" and 276. The young guy is just 27.
Here comes the blitz.
And 3rd and 11. Knocked away by Pearson, and Jerry Rice was clutching at that.
Something? Bono did a great job of getting that ball up because he was going to really get hit. But when that ball's in the air, a guy like Rice is always going to come down with it. It looks impossible, and almost.
That was Duron Cherry who blitzed and got to Bono.
Pearson did a nice job down the field in coverage. He really did. Now this has been a real problem, as we've pointed out, and Kofor has not come near his previous career numbers. Not at all this year.
He's made only 50%, 13 of 26. This is a 45-yarder. To the left. He's been doing that all day.
It's all a hook to the left. And when we acquired him, believe it or not, the inherent problem he'd had was hooking to the left. We corrected it, but it's back again.
Sounds like your golf swing.
Oh.
This is by Mike Kofor. 36 and 45-yard attempts keep Kansas City within 2 touchdowns. Their first possession of the second half with 9:44 left in the third. Barry Ward. And you figured that Marty said to that line, hey, let's move the ball on the ground. We've got a big runner in Ward. Let's get it done.
Well, David Lutz really did a great job of pulling and trapping inside out. And Baldinger, again, a fine run blocker, pulled through the hole. And Ward hit that hole. He really nailed the hole.
Marty Schottenheimer, member of the 1965 College All-Star football team, and what may be the best collection of college players ever on the team. Here's Ward again. Fumbles right to the 49ers. Todd Bowles has it at the 45-yard line. It was Dave Waymer who made the tackle and knocked it free.
Well, the ball just popped out. Now he does a nice job of adjusting to the hole, and the ball just pulled away from inside there somewhere. Right, cheap.
Right into the lap of Todd Bowles.
Yeah, right to him.
By the offense, recovered by the defense. Down, first down, San Francisco.
Well, you mentioned Marty Schottenheimer.
We will again. Timeout, 9:07 left in the third. And we're back to San Francisco, California, Candlestick Park, and some of our picturesque shots from the MetLife blimp. Travels over 50,000 miles a year, covering sporting events around the country. Delighted to have the MetLife people with us today. So the turnover by Kansas City. And with a 14-0 lead, the 49ers back in Chiefs territory at the 45s. Bono 20 for 28 goes to work with a couple of touchdown throws. Play pass looks for Rice, and instead underneath to Jamie Williams. Rice was wide open.
Rice was just totally open. The play pass apparently held those linebackers because Rice came in on a hook and there was no one there. They're just mixing it up beautifully. They really are. And Kansas City is just, I think, losing some concentration at this point because they're unable to move the ball themselves. Of course, it's not this guy because he's one of the great coaches in the league. I think that's acknowledged. Schottenheimer is really one of the top coaches in rebuilding teams and
motivator too.
Oh yeah, and establishing a state of mind.
2nd and 7. Taylor underneath. Caught from the backside by Saliamua at the 35, just short of a first down.
Well, Taylor has got a little ankle turn, it looks like.
He comes out and Mike Sherrard replaces Taylor.
Taylor's job there was just really to be ready to catch the ball against a blitz. It was a zone we just simply stopped and the ball was just dropped over there to him, and then his running ability took care of the rest.
3rd and about 1.5 yards.
Got Sidney in the backfield with Rathman.
Quick toss to Rice. Cut down at the 21-yard line. Boy, he gets those feet moving so rapidly, those high knees, quick feet. He's a delight to watch. If you didn't know who he was and you went out to a practice field and you saw this kind of leg action and talent, you'd say, that's got to be a player.
Now
He's
look
got
at
to be
him
a
pivot
star.
and come all the way back. And he's being covered by good people. It's not as though he's in there against stiffs. He's got good defensive backs out there. Duron Sherry was right with him and just lost him.
First down at the 22, a half dozen more for Jerry Rice, who is the all-time San Francisco leader in pass catches. He's up near 520 now. Just 7 meters. Carter to the 20.
Now, the one dimension that's missing from that 49er offense is a Roger Craig, a premier running back. Carter's a good, smallish type player, but Craig had given them a dimension as a great rusher, a solid blocker, and a great receiver. And that one dimension may have shut the 49ers out of the playoffs, because my feeling is if they'd have had someone like Dunbar from Indiana, who's coming out this year, a real fine runner and a steady runner, they would have a much better win-loss record.
6:28 left in the 3rd period. This is 2nd and 8. The tight end Jones in motion. Bono to Sherrard. He had it for a moment, and J.C. Pearson knocked it away.
Boy, that official out there, he reached for that flag and didn't quite pull it. That was tight, but it was good coverage. That's a shake pattern, and Pearson does a nice job, and it was a good defensive play. But look at him reach there for that flag and didn't quite throw it.
J.C. Pearson made the play, and he grew up in Oceanside, California, in the same block with Junior Seau, that brilliant young linebacker with the San Diego Chargers. They went to different high schools. In fact, Seau's father was the custodian at Pearson's high school, then went to Cal Poly Pomona. Roman Gabriel was his coach. They dropped football after his freshman year, and Pearson went on to Washington. Bono into the end zone. Rice wide open. Oh, my.
Just one-on-one, and how Jerry Rice can get so clear so easily. Eric Everett just totally lost him, and of course you're asking a young guy to cover possibly the greatest receiver of all time, one-on-one, and he didn't even ripple a needle. Beautiful job, and what Jerry Rice can do is accelerate away from the defender to a ball probably better than anyone has ever played the game.
Kofor hits the extra point. Jerry Rice from Steve Bono. Bono with a hat trick, his third touchdown throw today. Wouldn't you like to have Rice and Taylor going under your throws? So Rice, with his 7 catches and 2 touchdowns today, has 75 grabs for the year, a dozen touchdowns. He has more yardage to 81 than the entire Kansas City offense with 80.
Special guy.
I mean, he just doesn't disappoint. You come out, it's like going out to see Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio hit. They're going to, you know, from batting practice on, you're going to get your money's worth.
Comes down to Troy Stratford at the 7. A little daylight for Stratford. Picks up a block, and he's out to the 31-yard line. Tomorrow, NFL Live at 12:30, Joe Namath will look at the resurgent Miami Dolphins. You'll also see Houston and Cleveland, one of the games of the day. Others will see these contests, New England and the Jets. Jets still have a chance at a playoff spot. Seattle and Atlanta. You think these 49er fans won't be cheering for Seattle? They need someone to beat Atlanta. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. In the late game, Miami, San Diego. Miami could lose that game, still could beat the Jets in the last game. They're in the playoffs.
Well, that San Diego team is still dangerous. They really are. There's a lot of talent there, and they can play a very physical game.
21-0 now. The deficit staring at Steve DeBerg. He's playing for the injured Mark Vlasic. Vlasic, a knee injury in the first half, will not return. Harvey Williams, the young running back, poked in the eye. He won't return. And Ronnie Martz, a special teamer. He's out for the rest of this game. Barry Word. Good move. Breaks a tackle by Todd Bowles. And finally, Waymer bumps him out of bounds at the San Francisco 33-yard line.
Well, I'm sure they're pleased with Word, because that's something that Christian Okoye really can't do that well. Word has got a combination of speed and power. Now, you see his power right there. Now, watch him now turn it on. Now, his error is to look back at that man. If you want to get as many yards as you can, so you might as well just become a full-speed sprinter and don't turn your head right or left. Get in full stride and sprint.
Kansas City's longest gain of the day, 36 yards. Christian Okoye not in uniform today. He has a knee injury. They hope he can play next Sunday against the Raiders.
Play pass.
DeBerg going for 6, has a man, Burden, and overshoots him by a half stride.
Boy, did DeBerg need that pass. He hasn't been able to hit that particular play all year, whereas a year ago, as we pointed out, he had 6 or 7 deep ones. In this case, he's got his guy. Burden is going to be there. He's got his speed, and he's got full access to the ball over his head, but it's just too far. Just too far. And that's what they'll need the rest of the way. They need those plays.
He's 6'4", 16 today, DeBerg. 1 for the last 8. Word has a big hole. And he's all the way to the 10-yard line. DeBerg, as he handed off, came up limping as if he was stepped on.
Yeah, he is stepped on. That's painful. But you'd have to figure that he can keep playing, because behind him, what do they have? Deron Cherry?
Emil Harry.
Oh, Emil Harry, yeah, okay.
Quarterback.
Now he has his foot stepped on right.
No, I think he stepped on his own foot.
Yeah, he must have.
As he pulled away from center, it looked like he twisted his ankle or stepped on that foot. Word, meanwhile, reeling off another good game. He's got a 36-yarder, and that one was for 22.
I'll tell you, John Hall on that left side is doing an excellent job over there. He really is.
First time inside the 20 for Kansas City. 4.5 left in the third. Word outside, no one there. Touchdown, Kansas City.
Boy, we just remark on it, but John Alt and David Zott, what a beautiful job they did. David Lutz pulled through from the right guard spot, and they just got nothing to the outside. Everybody bit inside. Now you can see them driving up and just controlling people. Gee, that's a great job. Gee.
Word, 3 carries, 68 yards on the drive to get Kansas City's first score of the game.
Well, they found something they can do finally. It may be way too late, but they found where they could go and how to block it.
Nick Lowry, with this extra point, Lowry can add to his own NFL record 100-point seasons. This would be his 100th point of the year. He's got it. And so for Lowry,
That's the 9th time, an NFL record, he scored 100 points. Candlestick Park, Dick Enberg with Bill Walsh. The Heisman Award presentation live will follow this telecast. Think back through all the great Heismans as a kid or even young in your coaching career. Was there a player that jumps in your mind?
Gee, there's so many great ones.
Doak Walker, boy, he was my idol.
When I was 20 years old, Angelo Bertelli. When I was really young, I remember that was one of the first winners, and I saw him when my dad took me to the game, Notre Dame versus USC, and that was my first view of a great player. Yeah.
Well, stay tuned. That Heisman to follow as San Francisco finally scored upon, and the kickoff comes down, and so go flags as the tackle made inside the 20, and Steve Bono apparently has had a bump on that knee as they're putting ice around that left knee of Bono's. And Steve Young, he can play. He's not 100%, has a big knee brace. And it looks as if George Seifert's going to send Young into the game.
On return, number 53, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Now Young just needs to keep his poise because he's going to want to play so well. He's going to be anxious. As poised an athlete as he is, he's going to want to duplicate or be comparable to what Bono's done.
Despite the fact that Young has not played in 5.5 games this year, he is San Francisco's second leading rusher, 321 yards, over a 6-yard average. So potent in that regard, but that doesn't always please the whole team, as we have heard from Rice and Taylor and company. He comes out throwing to Sherrard and hits him right in the numbers with an 11-yard gain.
Well, they got plenty of confidence in him and Sherrard. Now Sherrard, #1 draft choice, as you remember. Sherrard went to Dallas from UCLA, and all kinds of problems. A broken leg, then it reoccurred. Then a year ago he had problems, but this is a guy with the kind of talent that Rice has, that Taylor has. Great speed, a very unorthodox guy in catching the ball. But they hung in there with him, and now he's a real factor.
3:42 left in the third quarter. Carter slips at the 20-yard line, and there was Derek Thomas to secure him. Back to Mike Sherrard. Gets that talent, as so many athletes do, from the mother's side. His mother competed in the 1964 Olympic Games in the hurdles. I think it was 80-meter hurdles then for women. His mother, Cherry. And he certainly wanted us to remember her because she has also been his biggest fan. He's grew up about 3 hours drive from here in Chico, California.
Yeah, right up north. But a lot of talent. Of course, he's playing behind two of the greatest that have ever played.
Young on second down. Incomplete. Carter, I don't believe that'll be ruled a fumble. Incomplete is the call. Porter makes another big hit. He's had several today. Kevin Porter, number 27 for Kansas City.
Porter just timed that beautifully. Carter looked as though he'd be open, but you'll see Porter coming right up inside when the ball's thrown. Bang.
He was a teammate of Steve Wallace at Auburn with Bo Jackson on that Tiger team. Bono not showing any limp. He's finally gotten his chance. He didn't want to be taken out of there. 24 for 33 today, Steve Bono. 3 touchdown passes.
Well, we saw Miami come back from Chicago. Remember that when it looked like Chicago dominated Miami. Miami won in the fourth quarter. Kansas City still there. This critical play, if they can get a punt from here, they may be able to come back into this.
Third and 11, and here he goes running. And he's right at the yardsticks as Lloyd Burris, the veteran, came up from a safety spot to make the tackle along with Chris Morton.
Boy, did he go for it. He dove through the air to get it.
It'll be, depending the mark, it appears they're going to put it down on the 31, which would appear short, but let's see.
Well, this is so critical because Kansas City has to get the ball back.
Yeah, it's a little better than the 31. Yeah, that's a generous spot. You could see Schottenheimer on the sidelines jump in the air when he saw where they put it down. And it is, look at that. Is that good or not?
Touched the ball. They had to have made it. Boy, that spot was important.
Touched the ball and nudged the ball back, and now it's short. Still no signal from referee Hantak. But what an effort by Young.
Well, he's trying to justify his run at that point. If he was going to run, he better as heck make the first down.
The signal at clenched fist, of course, is the official signal for 4th down, and that's what Schottenheimer is offering as a suggestion.
Well, right there by the angle, he didn't make it. But it appeared when he first placed that marker down, it touched the nose of the ball.
Short by a Krejci.
I think George has to punt the ball. Just a misplay of any kind. You'd assume they could easily make it. But if something went wrong, Kansas City could get right back in the ball game.
Candlestick unhappy.
No way.
Not with a 2-touchdown lead.
Those fans don't have to answer those 100 people in that press conference after the game. They can get in their car and go home. George has to go face them. Forgetting
they ever decided to be assistant coaches. Well, here's Arnold's guy, Prokop. Stratford inside the 30. Prokop, a high school decathlete. Terrific athlete, and sends a beautiful spiral. What an effort by Stratford, running through several tackles to get to the 30-yard line. A 47-yard punt, 8 yards on the return. Tonight, a colossal night of comedy on NBC. Golden Girls, Walter and Emily, starring Cloris Leachman and Brian Keith, Empty Nest, and Nurses. Then one sister deals with sexual harassment while another faces a personal tragedy. Then one sister deals with sexual harassment while another faces a personal tragedy. It's an all-new Sisters tonight on NBC. 2:09 remaining in the third quarter, and Kansas City with that quick touchdown. They needed only a minute and a half on that last drive, with the Barry Word consuming all the yardage on those long ground gainers. And here comes DeBerg to try to get Kansas City even closer.
Well, every call now by Joe Penry, the offensive coordinator, every call becomes very, very critical.
John Old, you got a shot at him. He was the key to opening those big holes for Word. He's the left tackle from Iowa. 300-pounder. Word straight ahead to the 33-yard line.
Well, they ran that play right into the teeth of the defense, with Holt sitting right there.
Big Michael Carter as well.
Yeah, and Holt playing right on that guard position and just controlling his guy. Zott really had problems dealing with Holt. And then, of course, Mike Walter being right position to make the play. Now, Holt's an interesting guy. We drafted him. Many people in the NFL felt that he was too old to be a
26-year-old
lasting player. And here he is, one of the best defensive linemen in the league. So often you look at raw statistics, these scouts, and don't look at really what a guy can do.
The Berg's fake, and Hayes unable to catch it, but Romanowski right there anyway.
Well, they had that thing just totally consumed defensively. But Holt was left college, worked on a farm, basically doing the manual labor for 2 years before deciding to go back and play, because he was able to gain strength and size, weight before he went back to college. And when we looked at him in the Senior Bowl from just a small college,
Angelo State,
he was one of the dominating players with all the big boys. So we traded in the second round to get him. He's become an outstanding defensive lineman.
DeBerg won for the last 10, hits McNair. You saw McNair, he fumbles the ball and then recovers for a first down. McNair, who came into the game, he's a third down specialist because he is a good receiver, but gets the first down and does fall on his own mistake.
Well, that looked good, Dick. Here, DeBerg does a fine job sitting in that hole, but look at that thing collapse all around him, and he's still able to get the ball off. Now, this is too bad for Kansas City, because there was a chance. Romanowski was chasing McNair. He'd never catch him. He was going to get 30 or 40 yards out of the play.
To the 47-yard line. Final minute of the third. Barry Word to the 50 and just into San Francisco territory as Michael Carter stuffs that run. And it may be the last play of the third period. Word suddenly a Big day rushing, 110 yards.
Well, he was impressive as of a year ago when we started doing Kansas City games.
2nd and 7. Saxon and Word behind DeBerg. Word gets almost 4 to the 46-yard line. As the final seconds tick away, and that's the end of the 3rd period. We'll be back after these words from your local station. Kenberg with Bill Walsh, our director John Gonzalez, our producer John Feratzis. As Kansas City down 21-0, striking quickly in the 3rd quarter on a very word-consumed drive. And now Steve DeBerg, as we open the 4th period, looks at a critical 3rd and 3 at the 49er 46.
Oh, gee. Baldinger moved. What does that put the heat on?
He has had a terrible day, Baldinger, at a rough time stopping anybody, blocking anyone in the first half, and he's on a
false start. Offense, number 77, prior to the snap.
Well, he was staring down the throat of Charles Haley, who beat him so badly before, and you could see right away it was a pass because he backed right up. So he was really sensitive to what Haley might do to him.
You told me once that Haley, back when you were coaching, had a Ronnie Lott mentality.
Well, Haley's an interesting story from the standpoint of our going after him and finding him as a 220-pound linebacker.
James Madison.
And projecting him into a defensive end and a pass rusher.
3rd and 8. And DeBerg just gets it off, and Thomas can't handle it. That would have been a first down at the 41-yard line. A game try by Thomas. That was a parental mistake there. He's only 5'9", 3 inches taller, and that's a first down. His dad, of course, was a terrific player.
Aaron was, and Rob just a smaller guy, but he's the same thing. Just excellent speed and quickness, great stamina.
Nickname is Popcorn, and he tried to pop up and catch that one, and not quite.
Again, DeBerg was inundated with a pass rush. He had to throw the ball right at that instant.
Taylor lets it bounce into the end zone, and San Francisco will play it from the 20-yard line. Just seconds into the 4th quarter, 49ers by 2 touchdowns. Grassy Lee of Candlestick Park. San Francisco starts from the 20. Steve Young at quarterback for the injured Steve Bono. Did not appear to be a serious knee injury for Bono, but Young taking over. He himself playing with a heavy brace on his left knee. There's Bono on the sidelines, as San Francisco undoubtedly will not want to play any high-risk football here, leading 21-7.
You know, Dexter Carter just carried the ball and got a couple of yards, and the sort of an ominous sound out of the crowd. They're starting to sort of pick on Dexter, and it's really not fair to him. They're putting him in a job that he really can't live up to. He's just not that big a guy.
70 pounds.
Yeah. And they're starting to use him as sort of a scapegoat. It's really unfair.
They move him out wide left and then send Rathman in motion on the same side. Little pick play. And look, he might get out of that trouble, and now he throws for Rice. Incomplete, and Kevin Ross really mucking Rice on the sidelines. No flag.
Young was forced to the right, which is tough, obviously, for a left-hander to throw the ball, but his quickness really demonstrated itself.
Well, he's admitted that he hates being a backup quarterback, and yet it isn't as if he has a... There you see the brace on the left knee. He had a chance to go somewhere else. Wasn't he a free agent?
He could have gone elsewhere, and he chose to stay. So if he's going to be a backup here, I think that's his decision. It's that simple. He's a great athlete, one of the finest athletes ever to play the position.
Away again, and dives to the 30, and that'll be a first down.
Well, that dimension he has is so darn tough to stop.
Injured 49er in the play. It's Steve Wallace, who has been playing brilliantly at that left tackle spot.
It looks like an abdominal injury, Dick. It doesn't look like one of his legs, which are obviously the very basis of your being able to play.
He's been blocking on Derek Thomas, and you saw he got Thomas out of the way for Young, and Young, the second leading rusher for the 49ers, gets the first down. Here's Thomas.
Oh boy, it just gets leveled.
Yeah, it comes down on Thomas's right knee. Meanwhile, George Seifert has gone from his $16,000 a game quarterback Bono to his $117,000 a game guy in Steve Young, and Joe Montana, old Jesse, just keeps smiling on the sidelines.
Well, I'll have to. Ed DeBartolo is the very basis of this operation, because he's been able to support his coaches with whatever they've needed. No question about it. And for one team to have a Montana and a Young on the payroll. Now there's Steve, and this is one of the people that, because of all the star factor of the 49ers, a person like Steve Wallace is overlooked, especially when they spent all that time with Bubba Paris and didn't just put this guy in that spot.
What a thankless job. Any NFL offensive lineman or collegiate, whatever. I mean, all the skill players get all the applause and the star and the headline. You only see these guys when they get hurt or they commit a penalty.
And the only replay they get is when they're hurt and you see them twist their ankle or something.
And here's a terrific player, Steve Wallace. He'll get some Pro Bowl votes. Frank Pollock from Northern Arizona replaces him.
They've got Rice zipping out of the backfield and people moving all over, trying to get a mismatch.
Young looking for Rice. Finds the tight end Jones all alone at the 41-yard line. That's right near the yardsticks for another first down.
Spontaneous play. He knew where Young would be, and he looked for him and found him. He didn't want to throw. He wanted to throw to his left, to the outside, and he ended up with Young.
The Heisman Award follows live in well, less than a half an hour here on NBC from Downtown Athletic Club in New York City. So we hope you'll join us. Desmond Howard is the leading candidate, along with Florida State's Casey Weldon, last year's winner Ty Detmer, Steve Entman, the terrific defensive lineman from the University of Washington. The linemen don't win it, but at least he's being mentioned, and that's pleasing. Ratman. He plays fullback like a lineman.
You know, it's too bad that the positions that don't handle the ball are basically totally out of the Heisman voting, just not even considered. It really is.
Well, that's why the Outlands and the Lombardi Awards and the Butkus Awards have been created to acknowledge those that play other positions and are stars in their own rights. Speaking of stars, I want to get to that Marty Schottenheimer story about the 1965 College All-Star Game, because it was such a brilliant collection of players. I want to share it with you.
They were not only great college players, but so many of them, virtually every one of them became a great professional player.
Several in the Hall of Fame already. Here comes Carter, untouched. Untouched. No one is going to lay a hand on him. Touchdown.
Boy, he's got the speed. Jerry Rice did a great job of blocking downfield on that play. Just a beautiful job. And he had J.C. Pearson just pinned. Now, when that ball is pitched, look to the left of the screen, and you'll see Rice outside. Look at this block. He ends up, and beautiful job down the field. And John Taylor was there. They had a triple formation. The wide receivers had so much to do with the success of that play.
53-yard gallop by Dexter Carter. Those are nice ones where no one was in 4 or 5 yards of him.
Well, that'll quiet down the crowd in that negative factor with Dexter. No question about it.
Kofor's kick hooks, but is through safely. 28-7 San Francisco, as Dexter Carter, whose previous long run was 21 yards. Rare that Marty Schottenheimer's team gives up a lot of points. In fact, the 28 represents the high by an opponent this year. 28-7 with 11 minutes 44 seconds to go. It'll be Stratford, who's had a lot of work with kick returns, punts and kickoffs today, as Kofor sends it a little short at the 10. Stratford to the 25-yard line. Harry Sidney tripped him up. Games tomorrow here on NBC, some with playoff implications. The Oilers, of course, are going for home field and a first week bye with a win in their last 2 games. The Jets, it's in their hands if they can win their last 2, including a victory tomorrow against New England. Then Miami, they're in the playoffs. Seattle at Atlanta. Seattle has slim hopes. They're mathematically alive. And, of course, Atlanta going for the NFC West against New Orleans and a hopeful San Francisco. Miami, San Diego.
Yeah, those Jets really have a challenge because New England is playing such sound football with Dick McPherson.
Play action to Berg, and then he throws back to the man to whom he faked, and that's Barry Word for a gain of about 5. Marty Schottenheimer on that 65 college all-star team coached by Otto Graham. And that's Schottenheimer way over on the left. We'll give you a little closer look. Schottenheimer, look, Dick Butkus was on that team. Schottenheimer hadn't changed much. He's still good looking. Fred Biletnikoff, a Hall of Famer.
Oh,
Bob Hayes, who of course was an Olympic star and Dallas Cowboys star.
Virtually every one of those guys became outstanding professionals.
Ken Willard, who played so many years here, a great runner, was on that team. San Francisco. Barry Word running over his own man to the 38-yard line and a first down. Others that were teammates of Shaw. How about Gale Sayers? John Hewart, he was a Heisman winner. Roger Staubach. They were coached. That's Marion Motley, second in from the bottom row. He's in the Hall of Fame. And Mike McCormick next to Roger Staubach. He used to be the general manager at Seattle. He's in the Hall of Fame.
There, yeah.
Great player.
That entire roster, name after name.
What a team. Saxon across the 40. And many talk about the Olympic team in basketball in 1960 as being perhaps the best collection of players at with Jerry West and Oscar Roberts.
Was eligible but wasn't on the team. I'm not sure why, but Joe Namath, that was his particular year.
Well, the 3 quarterbacks were Craig Morton on that 65 team, Morton, Hewart, and Staubach, and Namath was...
Couldn't make the ball club.
Wow. DeBerg, intercepted DeLong, and his daddy was on that team.
That's right.
Steve DeLong, who was an All-America lineman at Tennessee.
Keith is a #1 pick my last year with the 49ers. And, of course, I'd watched his dad. But in this case, Keith's in... Oh, gee, the ball just shouldn't have been thrown in there. But DeLong comes in. There's his dad.
He was a defensive lineman, #1 pick of the Chargers, and later played with the Bears.
Boy, a real facial resemblance, too.
Yeah. Keith,
play the same way.
Keith, also #1, also went to Tennessee. What a team. That's McNair, and he's to the San Francisco 48-yard line. First down. David Whitmore, an extra defensive back in to make the tackle. He's a plan B safety from the Giants.
You know, Marty Schottenheimer, I guess you could term it, brings everything to the table as a coach. He was a fine player. He's studied other people. He had assistant coaching jobs. And when he finally became a head coach, he was truly ready. This is one of the outstanding people in football. Boy, has he turned this organization around. He with Carl Peterson. He was also a basketball player.
Terrific basketball player. DeBerg on top for Barnett.
That's DeBerg's problem right there. Now, Barnett was covered, but the ball flew clearly totally out of reach. And that's where Steve had as a problem.
Well, you mentioned that Schottenheimer was a basketball player as well, and we just happened, our crack crew, to find his high school. This is the 1961, 30 years ago, Class B champions in Pennsylvania. Marty Schottenheimer, the starting center at 6. He looks like he'd get about 3 fouls before the opening tap. Look at that face.
He's the hatchet man.
No, he was a good player. And calls that still the biggest thrill of his entire life. And you think of all the things, All-American at Pitt and NFL coach, all of that, but the high school basketball championship. DeBerg under heavy pressure throws to Burton incomplete. His coach, Schottenheimer's coach, at Fort Cherry High School in McDonald, Pennsylvania, that led them there. He is Edward Heapy. He said, and he told us the story that Heapy was such an influence. His second fight, he started to cry. Yeah. And in the room with us, he started to cry. He said, you know, and we said, why, Marty, are you so emotional? He said, he was like my mother. He said he wouldn't let me quit. I tried to quit. Yeah. And Coach Heapy kept me there, and we became a state champion, and the memories that were stirring. Wow, what a powerful, emotional moment for those of us who watched and listened. Screen to McMahon. And he's to the 39. That's not enough for a first down, so it'll be 4th and short, and Schottenheimer will have to go for it. Johnny Jackson and Whitmore made the tackle.
Well, you can become very, very maudlin and even sentimental in the process of a given coaching year, because your emotions are totally drained and you're sort of psychologically worn down, and you start talking about key people in your life, and you can really become very, very emotional.
Yeah, but isn't it nice that he could show that in front of us? I mean, a lot of men would have fought it back, left the room, but he let us know that's how deep his feelings were. Timeout called by DeBerg.
Really can communicate with his football players.
He's real. 8:12 left. 28-7 49ers. 28-7 San Francisco. 8 minutes plus left. 49ers need to win 2. One loss and they're out of the playoff picture. That the sky is always the limit. And for San Francisco, if they don't make it, what a shame, because they are certainly one of the top 4 or 5 teams based on what we've seen in the last 4 or 5 games. Kansas City is in. Their game against the Raiders next week even more important than this one. DeBerg on the play action. Wide open is the tight end Hayes. And Jonathan Hayes storms inside the 20 with a first down. That was a key 4th and a yard-and-a-half call.
Well, DeBerg knew he'd have an unblocked guy coming right down his throat, and you never question DeBerg's courage. When you see him come out, look at this, right, Charles Haley right down the middle on him. He gets rid of that ball, and he's just leveled, but he's got the poise, and he's really a guy that can stand up to punishment.
Jonathan Hayes, who has a couple of catches today, 16 for the year. His brother Jay is an assistant football coach at Notre Dame. DeBerg, touchdown, Emil Harry.
Gee, what a nice catch. Right over the top, and does that help? Does that help the Chiefs? Believe it or not, I assume they'll go on to lose this game, but the fact that DeBerg can hit Harry, throw a nice ball to him, when they get on the plane tonight, at least there'll be some added momentum to what's happening in a pretty dismal day.
Harry's 3rd touchdown catch of the year. He's 4 for 74 yards today. Played at Stanford, was a point guard on the Stanford basketball team, went to Stanford despite the fact his mother, a diehard UCLA fan, big fan of John Wooden's Bruins during their glory years, winning 10 championships in 12 seasons. Lowry's extra point is there. 28-14, so the Chiefs still have hopes with 7:25 remaining. The key to life's events, timing. And so it is. DeBerg.
Oh, that's a nice catch. Really a beautiful catch. So one thing about Harry, and talking to Vlasic before the game, Harry is the guy on 3rd down you want to go to, the guy that can make the key catch. He's not as fast as other people or physical, but he can concentrate, and he's got the courage to come down with the ball.
Heisman Award to follow in just a few minutes. As soon as this game is over, we'll go live to New York, the Downtown Athletic Club, for the annual presentation. Started back in 1935 when University of Chicago's Jay Berwanger was the first Heisman Award winner. And Berwanger, during the course of the last couple of weeks, saying that no one really knew, obviously, much about it. And his grandparents or parents used it as a doorstop.
Look at this, Dick. Look at the alignment by Kansas City for apparently an onside kick. I'm surprised they'd go for it at this point in the game. There's 7.5 minutes to go.
2 touchdowns. And it's recovered by Antonio Goss of San Francisco at the 49-yard line.
That really, it's well orchestrated by Kansas City. Well orchestrated, but to do it with this amount of time left, your best chance to get a break later, get a fumble, get an interception, that's your way to come back into the game. But this onside kick just ends the game for you. The 49ers are now in position to score again. I really question that one, and I know Kurt Schottenheimer, the Chiefs coach, coaches that phase of it well. But boy, you give a heck of a lot up in making that attempt.
So it's 7:21 left in the game. San Francisco ball at the Kansas City 48. They spotted.
That's the end of the game in a sense, because if San Francisco just kicks the ball down in short, Kansas City's got too far to go to get it back.
The Chiefs now need a turnover. Harry Sidney, the man with 2 first names, is to the 45-yard line, and it's Harry Sidney that they're boosting for Pro Bowl special team honors. He's been a star on the special teams. This veteran running back, he seems to do a lot of things well.
He's really a heads-up player. Again, he was a USFL guy that came to us, a former quarterback in college. But Harry has been an excellent coverage man in special teams and a fine blocker. So in the Pro Bowl, he could do a lot for the Pro Bowl team. And he could also help from scrimmage if he had to.
Sidney again at the 41-yard line. We'll bring up 3rd down and about 2.5, 3. Oh, we went back some 30 years on Marty Schottenheimer's life. How about George Seifert? Now look at this is Stanford. Bill Walsh, the gray-haired mentor of the Cardinal, and George Seifert. Just look what happened to Seifert. Just a couple of years with Walsh, and those dark blonde. Look at that. That's what happened.
I could wear him down.
You know, it's
put him to the test. Well, we had some great years at Stanford, though. Gosh, a lot of fun. We had bowl games. We beat LSU. We beat Georgia in bowl games. They didn't think we'd have a chance. We were ranked in the top about 15, I guess. A lot of fun, and George was a key factor in our success.
3rd down and 3, and it's Sidney again. And he's short of the first down at the 40-yard line, and Marty Schottenheimer calls a timeout. Derek Thomas, number 58, a good job in meeting that run.
Thomas does an excellent job in handling Harris Barton, coming down to the outside, and Dino Hackett was right there to make the stop also.
Timeout with 5:46 left at Candlestick, where George Seifert's 49ers needing 2 wins and help elsewhere to get into the playoffs. They lead Kansas City 28-14. 5:46 left. Well, we talked about the high qualities of Schottenheimer and justifiable praise. What was it about Seifert and his abilities that attracted you?
Well, he's a great technician. And defensively, he was on the cutting edge of football as far as innovations and creativity.
Punting on 4th down. Prokop. A single to Stratford, who fair catches at the 10-yard line.
And George was extremely well organized, a fine teacher, excellent communicator, and people had respect for him. The players had absolute respect for him. So he went through the seasoning of head coaching at Cornell, which didn't work out that great. But as he progressed, by the time he took over, he was ready for the job. And Dick, that's so important in football coaching, maybe in business also. You'd better be ready for the job when you get it, or you'll fail. You see it all around us. This guy was ready. He had everything in place.
Was it tough for you to recommend him over other assistants at the time?
No, it was clear-cut. George was the man. Now, Denny Green, who's now at Stanford, was the alternative, but Denny had a chance to go to Stanford prior to my leaving, and then it was George. There's no question about him being the right guy for the right job.
So with 5:38 left, Kansas City needs something big, trailing 28-14, and DeBerg out of the shotgun from the 10-yard line. And he has a man open, Barnett, the rookie, and he's caught from behind at the 40-yard line by Kevin Lewis.
Boy, what a beautiful throw. Did DeBerg need that pass? And Barnett was right there. He had to really concentrate. He was well covered. And that was possibly DeBerg's best pass of the season. Nice job. Well down the field.
Barnett with 40 catches coming into the game. That's the most by a Chiefs rookie since Chris Burford back in 1946. Intercepted.
Gee, I'm sorry for getting excited, but why did Steve throw that ball? Because he threw it before his receiver was even anticipating the throw. Now you see this ball in the air, and you see, oh gosh, McNair had no way to catch the ball. His back was turned.
Whitmore had plenty of chances and juggled, and it wouldn't fall in his lap. Let me just square away the note on Tim Barnett, whose cousin is Fred Barnett with the Eagles. Bono limping off and getting a hand, and that knee now stiffened up on him. DeBerg hit from behind, throws incomplete. Not in the grasp and control rule of a year ago. There was no one else endangering his welfare as Haley had him by the heel.
Well, that 49er defensive quickness is showing up again. The pass rushers are faster than the pass defenders. You see this? The pass protectors can't move their feet quick enough to stay with these guys that are rushing. Larry Roberts in that case, and of course, Charles Haley. It's just the quickness on defense. And Seifert has been responsible for this, along, of course, with Bill McPherson, present-day coordinator.
3rd and 10. And it's a draw. McNair to the 30. He's very close as he slides forward.
See, that was a nice call. That was a gutty call, too.
Time called by Schottenheimer, trying to stop the clock. That'll be his second timeout. Still not stopped. And it does at 4:39.
That was an excellent call and a nice job by David Lutz. He turned his guy right to the outside. Nice job.
And while they measure for a possible first down, we'll pause for this commercial timeout. It's less than a yard shy of a first down. And on 4th down, obviously Kansas City will go for it. Trailing 28-14. And only one timeout plus the 2-minute timeout left for Schottenheimer. But a quick score here could bring a little anxiety to the 49ers side.
Well, a quick score would have justified the onside kick they tried a few minutes ago. But now they're trying to demonstrate how they do it. But a quick score here would obviously get him back in the game, but it would also help for the next game, believe it or not. The fact that they could keep their poise and keep their concentration and come back and score against this team.
4th and less than a yard. Saxon and Word lined up in an eye behind DeBerg. And it's Word hitting the backfield. He pushes forward, and now it'll be where they spot it. Terrific penetration by one of the 49ers, Ted Washington, the rookie from Louisville, number 97. He was in the backfield and hit Word before he hit the line of scrimmage, but Word's 242 pounds, able to forge to a first down at the 28. Clock running. Underneath to McNair with flags down. And McNair shirt-tailed by Whitmore and then helped Cam. Clock stopped with the penalty flag.
We could have a problem holding over on the left side. It looked like John Alton and Charles Haley had a little problem. And Haley is so fast. You got to reach out and in some cases try to grab a hold of him.
Holding. Offense. Number 76. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
Now Haley just explodes up the field. And also in pretty good shape. Oh, gee, I didn't see any holding there at all.
He let his hand slide. Started to, and then...
he was fine.
If you called that one every play, there'd be a penalty every
that's
play.
unfortunate. He did fine.
He's old, big ice fisherman, and...
What's an ice fisherman?
Ice fisherman, you got different rules, you know. You got 3-hole, 2-hole rules. No, he got Wisconsin, Minnesota, loves to ice fish. He'll be thinking about Haley. DeBerg going on top to Barnett. Almost intercepted by Don Griffin, who had that played all the way.
I'm surprised the 49ers are letting those post patterns get in there without a deep safety in the way. Now that's the second time it's been. The first one was completed, but again there isn't a safety coming over, so they're gambling that Griffin can cover the entire field with his reserve, or with his without our safety to help him.
4:02 left. 28-14 San Francisco. DeBerg now 13 for 31. 180 yards and 1 touchdown in relief of Mark Vlasic, who started today but was injured early. Knee injury. 2nd and 10.
Look out for Roberts.
Oh, gee. Intercepted by Dave Waymer, and the veteran from Notre Dame is to the 48-yard line.
What can you say? The ball was thrown right into the defense. It was a seam pattern. The receiver hadn't even looked, and DeBerg had thrown it. The ball is thrown right into. Look at the receiver isn't even looking. Now, what's happened to Steve DeBerg? I really can't tell you. He's one of the neatest guys I've known, a fine player, but that's not good at all. Not good at all.
The Heisman Award announced live here on NBC. That program to follow from the Downtown Athletic Club. So stay with us. Bob Costas and company are there for the report and some most interesting features. Ronnie Lott, many felt his career well over when he left for the Raiders, but has 8 interceptions this year, and that one for Waymer, his 4th. He leads San Francisco, gives San Francisco an 11-8 lead over Lott. To the 50-yard line, a short gain on first down. The clock will run now, 3:45. Well, we have a moment with the Heisman coming up, and congratulations in advance to the winner. We'd like to congratulate yesterday the announcement, the GTE Academic All-America of the Year, Tommy Vardell of Stanford. Touchdown Tommy was 3rd in the nation with 20 touchdowns, and more importantly, a star in the classroom as well. And in my eyes, there is a real All-American, someone who has achieved athletically and more importantly academically. Tommy Vardell, you'll see him against Georgia Tech in the Aloha Bowl as Dennis Green Stanford team plays in Hawaii.
Vardell is much like Van Egan of the Raiders of a few years ago. I think he's going to be an excellent pro.
But it goes out of bounds at the 30-yard line.
Gee, that's a nice job of blocking. Guy McIntyre pulling and Steve Wallace. In fact, that was Pollock.
Looked a lot like the touchdown run by Carter, that same play. Take a look at today's Canon camcorder replay of the game.
The fine job of Harris Barton blocking, Jerry Rice blocking, this is Sherrard blocking, and then Carter's speed. Just too much speed.
Well, you don't see that often in the NFL with all the speed and talent and pursuit lines where a runner goes for a touchdown 53 yards without a man coming anywhere near him.
Didn't even come close.
I mean, you could get away with a lot of garlic and he wouldn't even known you were around. Rathman gets a chance and draws 3 white shirts. 2:50 left. So San Francisco has the Bears left. That'll be a Monday night game. And again, the 49ers, the best scenario is if Philadelphia should beat Dallas tomorrow and then Philadelphia loses to Washington. That's probably their best hope. On the negative side, if tomorrow Dallas wins and Detroit wins, along with Atlanta and New Orleans, San Francisco's hopes are gone. That'll all be brought up to date and sorted out and presented to you in fine fashion by Bob Costas and company on NFL Live tomorrow at 12:30, as well as a special look at the Miami Dolphins. Sydney.
I do believe the 49ers, if they get there, are the one team that can take on the Redskins and do a good job, because the 49ers typically have been able to beat the Redskins over the years.
Joe Gibbs will be pleased to hear that. It appears to be a magic night for Howard in New York City.
Oh, he's a good one, too.
Ball at the 25-yard line. 28-14. San Francisco trying to run out the clock and then start rooting for a lot of teams to help them out. Rice throwing a block. The employee owners of Avis take time now to salute the game's most valuable player. Why don't you retire the award? Just give Jerry Rice 7 catches, his 90th and 91st touchdowns in his tremendous career. As the winner of the We Try Harder Award, Avis, the official car rental company of the National Football League. You know, Largent, we sung his praise, and one of our very favorites for so many years. But 100 catches, the all-time NFL record, 100 touchdown catches for Largent, 14 years, and less than half that time. Rice is only 9 away from the record.
Well, barring any kind of an injury, which he doesn't have to deal with that often because he's got such great physical grace and stamina and agility, he's going to blow right through those records, every record.
Who's the best team in the NFL?
Oh, the Redskins, I'm sure, and the Bills may find that out, but I think the Redskins are the most solid team, and among it could be the best coach too, but they're a solid football team.
Where would the 49ers be?
Well, the 49ers be third, fourth, right in there, but the point is the 49er offense has always given the Redskins some problems, and that's why they'd have a chance. If anybody has a chance, it's the 49ers, but the Redskins are a dominating team this year, and I think their coaching staff's had a lot to do with that. Jim Hannafin, by the way, the offensive line coach, I would think is in line for a head coaching job again this year. He's a fine coach, and I think a lot of people could do well by him.
4th and 1, and it's Young. He might go all the way. Yeah. Steve Young. Well, he saw one white shirt and wisely got down, and the flag goes down, and he's holding that injured left knee. Oh, no. Let's hope that's not serious. He tried to get down and took a hit.
Well, he's got to be careful because they just walked Bono out of here with an ankle problem, it appeared. Now, Young, just go down, Steve, quick.
Defense, unnecessary roughness, number 55.
Yeah, Irvin Randall.
Half the distance to the goal line. First down.
No need for that.
Yeah, that's not good for Young or Bono.
Bono's already in the locker room.
Right, and Bono didn't look like he was going to come back next week. I'd be surprised.
Penalty takes it inside to the 4-yard line.
Charles Haley. Now, this is an interesting man. Great sense of humor, but he's either ecstatic and happy and kidding, or he can be sort of a devilish guy.
Well, he is for quarterbacks. I'm sure that they hardly find any humor from the way he charges at them.
49ers are going to run out the clock. That shows a lot of class. There are some people in the league that wouldn't do that. They try to get some stats.
So as we wrap this up, San Francisco, hope still alive, need help. Executive producer Terry O'Neill, NBC Sports, our coordinating producer and the producer of today's game, Mr. John Farasis, and directed by John Gonzalez brilliantly again. Will Belkey, our associate director. Ross Schneiderman, Jerome Ingram, J-Man, production associate, and all the rest that have made this telecast possible. Thanks in the booth to Bob Coffey, Jim Walker, Francis Jordan. Under a minute left.
I'm sure that Carmen Policy and his beautiful wife Gail are looking on. Again, Carmen's come in from the DeBarlo Corporation and president of the 49ers. I'm sure he's the guy behind Bono's coming alive. I'm sure he got him in his office and
said, "You're not a million-dollar man, but maybe." And as San Francisco still hopes for a playoff spot, Kansas City, of course, no harm in this loss. 28-14 for Marty Schottenheimer. They're in the playoffs, and there's a bonus ahead against the Raiders in the Coliseum. You'll see that on NBC next Sunday. If they beat the Raiders, then they would host a playoff game for the first time in Arrowhead's 20-year history. That's still ahead. We'll see Kansas City and the Raiders again next week. Final score, San Francisco 28, Kansas City 14. You've been watching NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League. Now stay tuned. The 1991